Welcome to Completely Biased Sports. I am your host, Kevin Ronayne, and joining with me today is Jacob Zimlin, Jacob Fritz, and Ben, the Fat Man Schumacher. Well, I'm going to let you guys go ahead, talk about a little bit, and introduce yourselves. Zimlin?
Hi there. All you need to know about me is I love everything about Tampa sports. Florida Gators. That's my bias.
That's your bias. All right, Fritz?
What's up, guys? Along with Zimlin, Tampa sports fan, Bucks, Bolts, Rays. We'll get into the Rays a little bit later on, but also a UCF fan and Orlando Magic. Anything to do with Tampa and Orlando, really, when it comes down to it.
All right, I'm going to jump in right after that. This is Ronayne. I am the New York guy. Family's from Brooklyn, so everything New York sports, Mets, Giants, Rangers. Big time New York fan, Notre Dame fan, and I graduated from the University of Florida, so a big time Gators fan as well. All right, now I'm going to pass it over on to Ben.
Hello, I'm Ben. Family's from Wisconsin, so obviously a Green Bay Packer fan, so the Chicago Bears suck. My Philadelphia fan, and that's really about it.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and start moving into our first topic because that's a little bit about ourselves. The biggest thing that happened this past week in sports is the NBA draft. So the first thing, obviously, we got to talk about the man himself,
struck.
Zion Williamson. So I want to ask you guys, I'm going to read a little bit of Zion's stats. He averaged 22 and a half a game, essentially. Almost 9 rebounds, 2 assists a game, a ridiculous 68% from the field, and honestly, just under 34% from 3. Not that terrible. He only attempted like 2 a game, but that's not terrible.
Don't forget a broken shoe.
And yeah, he broke that shoe real good.
In half.
So I just wanted to ask you guys, what kind of career do you think Zion's gonna have? Go ahead, take it away.
It's gonna be garbage at the start.
You think it's going to be garbage?
He's going to be playing for the Pelicans. So the best player on the team for the Pelicans, as soon as Anthony Davis got traded, is now, Jrue Holiday?
Jrue Holiday.
Jrue Holiday's an all-star, though. I mean, not as great as an Anthony Davis. I do agree, though. I think the Pelicans are going to be not great. If anything, I think the highest their ceiling right this season is getting like a 7th or 8th seed in the playoffs. But I mean, it's all rookies this season with Zion, and then the potential of having DeAndre Hunter. Well, actually, no, that's not even going to be. He got traded as well.
He got traded.
So who was the other one?
Lakers are currently in discussions to trade this pick to the Pelicans, who were poorly traded to the Hawks. So the Hawks want to trade Jackson Hayes.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, regardless, it's just a team full of rookies. It'll have some vets, but it'll be tough at the beginning. I think people are going to judge him way too harshly at the beginning, as with any top 5 pick. They're going to expect him to come in, dominate, and then not allow the development of the player. So it's going to take a few years, at least, for Zion, because he's still he'll be 19
18?
Next year.
Yeah, he'll be 19.
He's still 18 right now, though. He just got drafted number 1 overall. Could you imagine being 18 years old and you just got handed the keys
19,
of a franchise? I mean, the last time that happened was still LeBron? I mean, with this much hype behind it, at least. I'm not comparing him to LeBron. It's not comparable. He's not LeBron. You just stated, he averaged what percentage?
68 from the field.
Yeah, it helps when most of your shots are dunks. So I'm not discrediting him. He's very talented. He's very athletic, but he's not known for his shots.
Because the dude is one of the most athletically gifted people I've ever seen on this planet.
That's great.
It is insane what he's able to do with his body and the jump sideways and just the moves to get through the lane.
But think about who's going to be covering him in the NBA. These guys are going to be the same size as him. He's not running against college players.
He's the second biggest player in the NBA based on weight right now.
I was going to say, for his height, nobody's going to have just be able to have the weight behind him to guard him. I do agree. You're going to have to put somebody way taller than, or somebody that's over Zion 6'8", so you're gonna have to put somebody that's 6'10" on
he's
Zion.
6'7". Yeah, you're gonna have to.
If he plays in the post.
Power forward. Yeah, he's gonna play power forward. My comp for him, or someone that he reminds me of, especially coming out of college, was Julius Randle.
No.
Yeah, and I didn't think
that's unfair because
I didn't think Julius Randle. I think he's better than him, but I didn't think Julius Randle was going to do anything in the NBA. What did he average last season?
I told you Julius Randle was going to be good. You didn't believe me.
Nah.
Personally, I hate player comparisons just because every player is unique. I mean, there are a lot of players that play similar to a professional counterpart. But like Zion, I remember watching highlight videos of him when he was like 8th grade, 9th grade, like a few years back when I was in college. Like I knew if I didn't watch college basketball this season, I wouldn't have known anybody except for Zion. And for even people to say R.J. Barrett was going to be the number 1 pick coming into the season, the college basketball season, I don't even know who R.J. Barrett was or is. Well, now I do, obviously, after watching Duke this year and all that. But Zion is like, he has so much hype behind him. And I hope New Orleans has the patience, like at least the fan base. I think, obviously, the franchise will have the patience, but the fans need to have the patience for the entire team to develop and have just one cohesive unit to really make themselves successful. Because I think now with the pieces that they have around him and what David Griffin's doing, because let's remember, he did build the Cavs to what they were. Granted, just a lot of so-so pieces around him. But what David Griffin's building in New Orleans is going to be really great.
So the only reason I want to debate that is, and I guess this kind of goes into the whole Lakers, who won the Lakers-Pelicans trade. Pretty sure the Lakers did because they traded away pieces that have never won. Lonzo has no shot. Brandon Ingram might not play again, possibly. And who else did they get? Josh Hart?
Yeah, Josh Hart.
So Josh Hart is a decent player. He's not. He's not bad. He's young. But the point being is they traded away the best player on the team who asked to be traded. So it was a win-win for them in a way. But between the two teams, the Lakers didn't lose like a career superstar. They lost just guys who are young. One of them doesn't even have a shot yet. The problem with Anthony Davis, the whole reason Anthony Davis wanted to leave was not because he wanted to become a Laker. It was because the Pelicans never put anything around him. So now we have the same issue where here's Zion Williamson and here's a bunch of young guys from the Lakers who never really accomplished anything. And you're going to, well, hopefully they'll build in the future. No, they need to strike now with this big free agency and the money that they have. Now they're not going to because they're New Orleans. But the thing is they don't build around him. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good he is. He'll leave. And
Absolutely. Absolutely. The Lakers did need to win now. What's the cost of winning now? 3 players and 3 first-round picks in the future. So the Lakers have to win in the next 3 to 4 seasons. Yeah. If LeBron's contract is the next 3 seasons. Who knows if he plays after that? Who knows if he resigns? So you got to think of it as a 3-year window. They have to win in those 3 years, or in my mind, that's really considered a failure because you're trading away assets. And let's not even talk about the guys that they traded, but the first round picks. Granted, those first couple seasons or those 3 seasons, they may not even win the lottery, but you can find a diamond in the rough, just like what the Raptors did with Pascal Siakam, with Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard was not a lottery pick. Kawhi Leonard was like 15 or 16.
Yeah, he was just outside of it.
Yeah. So it's very possible for the Pelicans to find that, but at the same time, it's hard to develop a young team when there's no clear leader. Like Zion is going to be the leader, but he's also 18 years old.
I disagree with that because they do have a star.
Yeah.
He is I think at least he's been to 1 All-Star game. I'm pretty sure he's been to like 2 or 3.
Yeah, but he's not a leader of a team. I wouldn't if you told
Why
me
not?
Okay, hold on. If you told me Drew Holiday could lead the Pelicans to the conference finals, not even the NBA finals.
I don't think they have enough talent.
It's not going to happen. So
that's
what I'm saying.
I'm not saying that they're going to go to the conference finals. I think what I'm saying is Zion isn't going to be the leader right away. He develop and then eventually become the leader. I'm saying Drew Holiday's the leader now, and whether or not they win a couple games or they're absolutely terrible or whatever, Drew Holiday's the leader of the team. And maybe eventually halfway through the season, Zion learns some stuff from Drew and then eventually takes the reins and goes, guys, this is my team now. Let's do this, and we'll help each other out. It may take him a half year, 2 years. Who knows?
No,
Who knows?
I think
he's still 18 years old.
Yeah.
Zion's
So he's still got a lot of time and a lot of development.
He's gonna ball out.
No, Zion's going to be good.
He's gonna
no
ball
matter
out.
what. It's just how good is his career going to be? And I mean, that's hard to predict. But I can tell you this:
he's gonna be a baller.
Unless they build something around him, he won't retire in New Orleans. He will go somewhere else.
I mean,
he'll go somewhere else anyway because another organization will be like, "Here's a fat stack of cash, come play for us."
and here's 3 other All-Stars.
Yeah, here's 3 other All-Stars with you as well. You're gonna win.
And that's why, I mean, with Zion, you're sitting there, and the Lakers trade, it's a bad trade on the Lakers end because they have to, for the next 3 years, in order for them to build a team around Anthony Davis and LeBron, they have to use free agency. That's not going to work very well.
I will argue about that later.
Okay,
Yeah,
other than this free agency that's coming up, which has an
we will
extraordinary amount.
Trust me, Ben.
No, but you're giving the Lakers gave away their future to bank it on free agency, which is
in my opinion,
not a way to run.
Those 2, at least 2. So they gave away the 4th pick. I think that's the only pick that they gave away that's going to have any value. Because once you're outside of the lottery, honestly, in basketball, once you're outside the first 5 picks, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
You're not guaranteed a superstar. Unless it's like a super rare draft with all these guys and all this bench talent.
No, but it's still
you're
the
going to get
fact
someone
that
in free agency better than some kid in the draft. Absolutely.
But it's still a fact that you're giving away hope. You're giving away other things.
No one gets hyped up about picks in the 18 to 30 range.
No, but it's not that. It's more the fact that it's okay. What happens if there's nobody in free agency in the next 2-3 years that they can get their hands on?
Doesn't matter, dude. I can pick up Pat Bev.
Let's think about it this way too. For a rookie contract, like the Lakers just traded away 3 already determined contracts for the next 3 years. Like for free agency, any free agents that come in, are going to be a heck of a lot more expensive than a rookie contract. Because the rookie contracts are like 20 to 30 million over the 4 years of the contract.
Depends on the
and that's on the high end of the first round. Probably top 5 picks are in that range. It's already predetermined. A free agent coming in. Like, let's take a look at Rajon Rondo this season. Rajon Rondo was a $9 million contract for 1 year. Like, you're not gonna find a lot of players that are gonna be willing to, maybe because it is the Lakers and LeBron and Anthony Davis, players are gonna want to take a pay cut, kind of like with the Warriors, but there's no guarantee. And with GM LeBron at the helm, who knows? Because we all know it's not Rob Pelinka's team, right?
All right. Let's go back.
All get that.
Let's go back to the draft class. Who do you guys think will be the best player? 5, 10, 15 years down the road, who will people say is the best player that came out of this draft class? Zimlin?
So I want to say Ja Morant, but it's probably going to be Zion, honestly. Morant's got the stats. I mean, he averaged almost 25 points a game and 10 assists. He averaged a double-double, for his last season in college. That's very impressive. But Zion's a monster. The guy, if he can develop a shot, he is going to be that guy in this. He'll be the most talented. I don't know who's going to have the most success because we're talking about the top 3 picks all went to terrible teams. I think the Pelicans have the most future. They have the best future because they got all the draft picks, and there's some hope there with Zion. Morant's going to the Grizzlies, who are notoriously terrible, and do not even get me started with R.J. Barrett at the Knicks. the worst owner. Granted, the Knicks might cost the most money, but the team is terrible. If they're so great, if that's such a great organization, they would have won. They don't win. They're awful. And he's going there, and he's going to have these other two guys. Zion's going to have pressure just because he's Zion, but New Orleans isn't going to cause that pressure. Ja's going to have pressure because he's the second pick, but it's not going to be because of Memphis or the Memphis media. RJ's going to New York, and New York is not patient. They're going to want wins immediately. He's the number 3 pick. In their mind, they got the number 1 pick. He's already the best player. To most Knicks fans. I'm not saying you, but most Knicks fans. But he's going to be going into an area where they're going to expect way too much way too soon. And especially because they're probably not going to get anyone in free agency. All the pressure is going to be on him.
Yeah, we'll talk about free agency in a couple minutes.
I know, but it's just in general.
So Zion and Ja. You think it's Zion and Ja?
I think.
All right, Fritz?
Yeah.
I think in terms of, I mean, Zimlin's kind of looking at it from an offense. I think on a defensive end, I look at a guy like DeAndre Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
He is just an absolute pest. And looking at the tournament this year, and even last year when he was a freshman at Virginia, he was just an absolute monster. Could get his own shot if he really wanted to. It kind of wasn't really Virginia's system. It was more team basketball. But if he really wanted to get his own shot, he could. But, I mean, I just look at his defense, and he's just a big guy and guarding other small forwards and maybe shooting guards and whatnot. It's just going to be a real pest-like defense, kind of like a Tony Allen. I'm not saying he will be Tony Allen. I think Tony Allen, where he struggled, was on the offensive end, and but I really like the DeAndre Hunter.
DeAndre Hunter. All right, Ben. Who do you get?
So my two are going to be DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish, because Atlanta. Because out of the top 15 picks that happened, Atlanta is pretty much the only one that has been in the playoffs successfully-ish the past 3 or 4 years.
Did the Hawks make the playoffs?
They did. I don't know if they did this year, but I know they did a couple years last year and the 2 years.
Not last year, because they got an early pick last
Are
year.
we ignoring the championship a couple years ago?
Yeah, well, the Cavs championship had LeBron, so.
Yeah. That's why I'm asking that.
So we're ignoring the Cavs' success.
It's the fact that there's people in place that are there that can help.
Yeah, the Hawks are set up for the future. Right?
Yeah, and they're
a solid young lineup.
Out of the top 15 picks, the Hawks are set up to help these guys the most out of the top 15 picks.
He's kind of got a point. I mean, the Hawks do have Trae Young. And Trae's very talented.
But having team success doesn't make you the best player.
Well, hold on. But John Collins... No, it might not be best player, but Ben has a point. They're going to a good situation. Trae Young and John Collins showed how good they're going to be.
You never said best player. You said who was going to be the most successful. The
specific question was who will be the best in the draft class.
Well, best in the draft class is easy, Zion.
But that's what I mean. Yeah, it'll be... Number-wise, it'll be Zion. But team-wise, it'll be the 2 guys that just got drafted from Atlanta, because Atlanta has opportunities to grow them more than just throwing them to the wolves and be like, have fun, don't get hurt.
Yeah, I understand that.
He's absolutely right. Out of everyone that was a lottery pick, they're easily the most hopeful team. They got 2 guys here, DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish, along with Trae Young and John Collins. They're not going to win immediately, but that's going to be a good team if they don't mess it up. It's Atlanta we're talking about here.
But let's I kind of want to go back to the last conversation we had with the Pelicans. Atlanta is just a team that's it proved with what assets can do because of what they've been doing the past couple of years. Yeah, they've been at the bottom of the barrel in the Eastern Conference, but they have accrued all of these assets and first round picks. And you mentioned how Trae Young and John Collins, how their success just was kind of blossoming a little bit at the end of last year. But with adding 2 more picks, a guy that's really sound on the defensive end, and then Cam Johnson, he's a North Carolina guy, correct? Which anybody
Cam Reddish is going to the Hawks.
Reddish is going to the Hawks.
Cam Reddish, excuse me. So he's a Duke guy.
Duke guy.
So I mean, another guy that can really shoot the three. So
he didn't show that in college.
Atlanta's really going to be a team to look out for. Just a young team that they may not make the playoffs, but they can surely cause somebody to miss out on a 7 or 8 seed.
Yeah, they're going to kick the Magic out.
They're going to annoy the Magic.
With these 2 picks, Atlanta is going to be a young team for the next at least 3 to 4 years.
Right.
And that's what you kind of almost have to look out for, because some of these other teams, you like the Warriors and
the process.
No, just the Warriors
in
general.
The process works, man. You can't argue against the process, because Golden State did the process, and 3 of the top 4 players came from drafting. And then,
Atlanta's process took a lot faster than Philadelphia's process. By God.
Exactly.
All right.
They still have to win.
I got another question for you guys. So we're talking about the top players and which teams are the best. So I want you to pick out 1, 2 players that are outside of the lottery. Let's do
15 plus,
20 plus. Let's do 20 plus.
That works for me. I'm going to the second round.
So 20 plus. Who's a guy that you like?
I don't know any of them.
You think will make an impact? Now,
I don't know any of them.
I don't know.
I got a guy. This guy, for me, he's got a lot of off the court problems, and you've been a lot of discussion of that. But Kevin Porter Jr. This dude, I mean, he's discount James Harden. I don't think he'll ever turn into a James Harden. But watching what he did at USC, even off the bench and limited minutes, he's got to clean up his act. But he's got some talent, and if he put that to, maybe he's just J.R. Smith. Right? I love J.R. Maybe he's just J.R.
Let Fitz go next.
But all right. Also, let me throw in Carson Edwards. That kid in the tournament just couldn't miss. It was insane where he was taking shots from. It reminded me of Jimmer Fredette. Just people yelling Jimmer from taking half-court pull-up shots. It was insane. Carson was a monster in the tournament. But go ahead, Fritz. Who do you think? Top 20 plus into the second round.
Even undrafted.
Yeah,
even undrafted. I mean, we can throw an undrafted in there who's signed. You got to sign.
I'll look at. I'll pick a guy that got drafted and a guy that is went undrafted. But I'm looking at 24, the 24th pick for the 76ers. You look at the 76ers, they're free agents. They this year they're letting go.
Yeah.
It's straight. Okay.
He's going to the Suns.
Oh no! That might
instantly changes his pick.
Can we just touch on that? The Suns are just so terrible. I mean, I know that James Dolan is the worst owner, but whoever the Suns owner is, he's getting up there with his
the Suns the problem with to never win an NBA title, finals.
No, but the problem with the Suns owner is as of being one of the original basketball teams, the Suns owner owns so much other stuff that the Suns are just on the back burner to make more money for the other team.
All right. Let's keep it on the players. So Fritz,
all right, then I'll just go undrafted. I'm going to look at my boy Taco Fall, UCF center. Just a gigantic man.
The legend.
7'7". I remember going to football games and he would there's an outdoor court right next to Spectrum Stadium where the Knights play, and I remember walking past there, beers in hand and all that, and him just playing against the freshman girls when he was a freshman, and it needed 3 girls to even reach to his height. The man is just a beast, and you look at their round of 32 game against Duke, and he really made a difference with his height just altering shots. I mean, he's not a great defender, but just because of how tall he is, makes him an even better defender. And him going to Boston, that's a pretty good spot for him. Just with their history, and he can kind of take a wing. If Al Horford resigns, which people are making it sound like, he could really develop his offensive game, just kind of being mentored by him. Although, I mean, just once again, because of his height, makes it a little bit different. But I think Taco is just I hope he really has a great career in the NBA. And it doesn't get shortened with injury.
Who you think will have a great
so you
career.
think, all right.
Oh, no,
yeah.
I got one for
go
you.
ahead.
Bull. Get out of here.
You're
going to give me a center that went to the Nuggets? Like, he's going to back up behind one of the best centers in the NBA right now, an all-star. Yeah. And he averaged 21 points a game and almost 10 assists, or 10 rebounds. 10 rebounds. Almost 10 rebounds. He had 9.6.
Yeah, but he's got to play to do that.
That guy fell all the way to 44.
He's got an injury history. They're just worried that he's not going to be able to play. That's why he fell.
Yeah.
That's why he fell. Yeah. They don't see him playing on the court.
If he can play,
he deserved to be in the lottery.
That is the biggest.
He fell a lot. I didn't expect him to go the second round.
How many games did he play at Oregon? 9?
Yeah.
I mean, it was less than 10. So I mean, I understand why he fell so much.
Okay, but in the same token, I'm not comparing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not comparing him to Kyrie Irving. How many games did Kyrie play when he was in college?
4.
Yeah,
Kyrie played 4 and was the number 1 overall pick.
I'm just saying, just because he didn't play because he was hurt, doesn't mean he won't be amazing. So, I'm more worried about the
injuries.
School.
Yeah, he played 9 games in college. It's a little different when you're a big man. All right, but let's move on. We talked about players that.
What?
We're moving on, man. We're moving on.
What about my person?
You said you don't know anybody.
Yeah, you said you don't know anyone.
But I can find someone.
Okay, go ahead.
Nasir Little.
Nasir Little,
small forward. With what do you call it?
Can you tell me what college he's from?
North Carolina.
Oh, you got it right.
Hey.
Because he's looking at his Wikipedia right now.
No, I'm looking at the ESPN draft class. And, the reason why I did that is because he went to the Portland Timbers.
Portland what?
The Portland what?
Whatever. Portland. The Blazers. My bad. Hey, at least I got a team from Portland right. Leave me alone. No, well, but
I mean, a trailblazer does knock down trees, so timber.
Yeah. No, but it's with him. He doesn't need to he doesn't need to put up the 3 like he was supposed to in college.
That's the word right there.
Well, he doesn't need to because he has Damian Lillard. He has 3 or 4 guys that can.
Yeah, we'll see how long
do
they
the
stay
threes.
There.
And he doesn't. He has a great free throw percentage of 77%. So there's hopeful that he can fit it. There's hopeful he can be a
quality role player.
Yeah, and then he can grow into something that would work more than just one little quality player.
All right. So I'm gonna give you each. You get to say one name. You don't get to defend the case. Just the name.
Okay.
All right. Every year, someone in the top 5 is a bust. I want you to take someone from the top 5 and tell me who the bust will be. We already have Ben's answer.
He already said Zion. He's not.
Ben says Zion. Fritz?
I'm going to go Darius Garland.
Darius Garland.
That's a safe pick. I'm going RJ.
You're going RJ?
I don't. Yeah.
Well, as the Knicks fan of the group, I'm going to have to go RJ Barrett because I know how terrible we are.
That's the reason. It's not his fault.
And I think RJ is. It's going to be like Carmelo in New York. How Carmelo was great, but no one's going to think of Carmelo's time as him being a great player in New York because all the drama and this and that. But you watch Carmelo play in New York and it was awesome. I think RJ Barrett's going to be like that. He's going to pull off some ridiculous stuff, but there's going to be no team success because.
And then he'll get one up by Linsanity.
Yeah, and then he'll get Jeremy Lin's going to come out of retirement.
Jeremy Lin's not retired. He just won a Raptors championship, okay? But Jeremy Lin's going to make a comeback to the Knicks, and he's going to one up RJ Barrett to make him feel bad, and then disappear into irrelevancy again.
Yeah, we'll see. But I think
RJ Barrett.
RJ Barrett.
Two of us, yeah.
All right, so but with that conversation, let's go ahead and start and move on to NBA free agency.
Oh, yes.
I want you guys to give me your top 5 free agents and quickly explain where you think they should go. Not where they will go, but where you think they should go.
I'll go last.
All right, so go ahead, Fritz.
All right, so I wrote down a couple free agents. I'm kind of looking at just their popularity or team. First, I mean, you got to go with the world champion, Finals MVP himself, Kawhi.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, he needs to be in Toronto. There's no doubt about that. He can run that country with how bad all the hockey teams have been doing and just the growth of basketball. In Canada, he has to, in my opinion, he needs to stay in Toronto. Number 2, I'm looking at Kemba. Kemba is just, I mean, I remember the shot in the Big East tournament. What would it be, like almost 10 years ago now?
It has to be something close to that, right?
Over against Pitt in the championship. Just an absolute insane player. I think just Charlotte's really, they're always a 7 or 8 seed team. But he's Charlotte. Like, he is the guy for the Hornets. He can make the most money there, so I think he should stay. Kyrie is interesting to me, just with like all of the backlash he's had in the last 2 years. His disagreements with LeBron, going to Boston, and then getting injured, and then having the team succeed and make it to the playoffs, and then him coming back and them losing, and then just all the drama last season. I don't know a team that would actually want Kyrie. Like, his talent is there, but just the distraction is just
unreal right now.
Insane. Yeah. So I mean, he's from New York. You're hearing like him going to Brooklyn or the Knicks, or maybe even reuniting with LeBron and in LA. I don't see LA finding the cap room. Maybe they will.
No, I think they have enough cap space for one player, right?
They
have enough cap room now that they traded everybody away.
I don't think they have enough cap room for like a Kawhi Leonard or Kevin.
Well,
Durant,
they needed they were at like 27 million and needed like an exemption from the Anthony Davis trade. Regardless,
they need Anthony Davis to get rid of that $4 million. That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, if I mean, he would have the most success in LA. So I guess I'd go with him joining the Lakers. Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's kind of like in the same boat where he's just like, he's a great player, great defender, but more drama. I mean, the move that he pulled this year with Minnesota, where just playing with third stringers against the Timberwolves first team and just absolutely dominating, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay, so
hilarious
before we leave
to me.
that, it's so funny because what that means is that it's not that Jimmy Butler's that good. It just means the Timberwolves are that bad. Like, they should have no faith in Karl Anthony Towns or Andrew Wiggins.
No, I don't. I mean,
all right.
I mean,
that's
yes,
not
yes,
the conversation. That's not the conversation.
But yeah, that's a whole nother topic. I don't think he stays with the 76ers. I think he leaves, and I think he goes. And I think that New York is going to be one of those teams that are going to throw a lot of money at people and not get anybody. And then Jimmy Butler is going to be the guy that sticks.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That sounds about right.
And then, I mean, you got to stay local. I'm interested to see what happens with Nikola Vucevic. I agree. He says he's willing to take less money or stay in Orlando, or he likes it here in Orlando. But to me, it's the same exact situation as what's going to happen in New York. There's going to be teams that are going to try to throw money at the big free agents to come have them play there. They're not going to have them come in, and they're kind of going to be like stuck with some of these free agents. So I could see it's hard to kind of pinpoint where Vucevic is going to go. I would love for him to stay in Orlando. Actually, I mean, he's a great offensive player. I think I don't think his defense is there. I think you got to let some of the younger guys develop. I could see him going to New York too. Screw it. Why not? Just let it, just
New York
have
misses
all
everyone
these
and gets Nikola Vucevic and Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler as the future
exactly.
of RJ Barrett.
Exactly.
All right, Ben, you have any input on this subject?
If Toronto was smart, they would basically open up the piggy bank to Kawhi, and
he's getting offered the max, no doubt about that.
Yeah, but you would offer more. I think a lot of organizations are going to start to. Yeah, they're going to start to do the LeBron, GM type thing.
No,
I don't know if Kawhi's that kind of guy though.
That's not.
No, I don't know if Kawhi's the type of guy, but I think a lot of organizations are going to start to offer it more to some of these all-stars, because
I think they already do. We just don't really hear about it.
No, but more so control over what happens than just have a coach as like a figurehead or a coach to do like the day-to-day activities type thing. But with Kyrie though, if he wanted a title, he would go west. If he wants to try and compete for a title, he would stay in the east. That's really...
So if Kyrie wants a title, he goes to a team. Got it.
Yeah, no, if Kyrie wants a championship...
No, but you can have him go... It'd be a nice move. I would love to see him go to make it competitive. Love to see him go to either Washington or
maybe.
Or the Hawks.
No, I don't think the Washington
has
enough
cap
space
for
for
this.
this.
The Hawks or Washington. No, dude, they already have point guards. I get John Wall's hurt, but he has no reason to go to those teams, especially not Atlanta. Atlanta, that'll ruin the Hawks. Are you kidding me? He just ruined the Celtics. He can't go to Atlanta. They have something good happening there. Don't wish that upon them. They already have sorry teams. They don't need that. So
that's not what I'm. It's the fact that you can. Kyrie is a plug-in. He can start. He's not a guy that will just sit on the bench. You have to find.
He's an all-NBA player. He's one of the best point guards in the game.
If you put him in Atlanta, then you bench Trae Young. You can't do that.
You could run them both together.
No, you can run
Kyrie at the
together.
2. You could run either of them at the 2.
You can run Kyrie at 1
and
Trae
Young
Young
you don't need
at 2.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can run 3 guards on the court at once.
You could. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying it's not a good idea. Yeah. He naturally plays the point. Trae they both naturally play the point. This isn't like James Harden.
Green plays center in the finals, and he's a 3.
That's what I'm saying. If he's trying to win a championship, go to a team in the West that has go to the.
Got it. Go to the Warriors. Once they lose,
go to the Warriors. Go to the Warriors and pair up with Steph Curry since Clay and KD are going to be hurt next year. Oh, God.
Go to Houston. Oh my God.
Did they trade Chris Paul? There you go.
Did he just say go to Houston? Wait, did he actually say that?
I don't know. All right, Ben. Different player. We got to move off Kyrie Irving. Where do you think Kawhi's going? Where do you think Kawhi's going?
Kawhi, if he was smart and if everybody was smart handling Kawhi, he would stay in Toronto.
Stay in Toronto. All right, Kyrie, you have going to a championship contender.
My sleeper out of all of this is gonna be Jimmy Butler. Where's he going, and how's he going to affect? Well, that's the thing. How's he going to affect the team he's going to? Because we all know he can ball out, but the problem
a lot of rumors he's just going to stay in Philly. That they want him back. They want him and Tobias Harris back, is what I saw.
Of course they want them back, but they're not going to stay. Maybe Tobias will stay, but I don't think Jimmy Butler's going to stay.
I thought it was weird having all of them on the Sixers.
I actually don't think it matters where either of them go, but that's just my opinion.
All right, so let me go through mine real quick. Let me start off with Kevin Durant.
Oh, fuck off.
All right. Since no one's really talking about Kevin Durant, watching him go down and like immediately knowing what that injury was, I was like, damn, that means we're not going to get him in free agency, which is like the terrible thing to say. I think now before obviously I want him to come to the Knicks, come help transform the franchise. The Game of Zones episode, you go to New York, you win a championship, you become the GOAT, because it's pretty hard to do there. It hasn't happened since the 70s. But with the injury, he has to opt out, right? Or is he a full free agent? He's got a player
he has
option.
to opt. He's got a player option. He has to decide by Saturday.
By $31 million. I was thinking maybe he just keeps his player option. Although, but I think no matter what, when he declines it, because he will, right? When he declines it, teams are going to offer him max contracts, even though he's missing all of next season, and you don't know what he's going to be like coming back from that injury. He's going to get a max offer from the Knicks. He's going to get a max offer from the Warriors. He's going to get a max offer from pretty much everyone. Anyone who can pay him are going to absolutely max.
No. I don't know if we get a max from the Warriors because they have to play. No, they have to pay Clay.
He's getting a max.
You got to send out max.
You're talking about one of the best players.
You can't let the problem is, Jake, is you can't let him go. That's the situation that the Warriors now face.
You could easily let him go. He's not going to be the same player.
They were good before.
He's not going to be the same player. This is the same injury that ended Kobe.
Kobe came back.
Kobe came back, but
Kobe wasn't Kobe when he tore his Achilles.
That's what I'm saying. KD is.
But that was an older Kobe though.
It was also, it was older Kobe.
Well, KD's in his 30s, and I know that's not
30s,
old,
but
Kobe was like 39 when he tore his.
And it's also Kobe being Kobe. And have you ever heard of the workouts that Kobe would put in before after games? Kobe is just he's just in his own little world of a freak of nature because he would hit 1,000 shots before he would start training for the U.S. when he was on the U.S. team.
Kobe Bryant.
Before training.
Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant would.
Kobe is retired and he's not in this free agency.
That's a trick. Kobe comes out of free agency, honestly, joins the Lakers with Kyrie, and they win a championship. There it is, calling it right now. All right, so moving on. I think Kawhi.
You never know.
I think Kawhi. There's a lot of rumors to the Clippers. I think he should stay in Toronto. That's where I think he should go. What he just did to for that country, or not just city, country, and everything that happened there, and he had a great season. I think he went into the season thinking he's gone. He's gone after the season.
He just made basketball bigger in a country that is all about hockey.
Yeah.
Like Jake touched on it earlier. It's unreal what this guy's done in one season.
I think this one season in Toronto, he fell in love with
I can tell you where New Balance wants him to go. New Balance also wants him to stay in Toronto. Think about Toronto as an international city, just incredible, with all the culture there. New Balance to sell shoes and to sell whatever Kawhi is coming out. They want him to stay in Toronto just with the popularity of it.
Yeah. All right, so moving on. I got Kyrie Irving in my top 5. I mean, Kyrie, no doubt, he's one of the best point guards in the game. Impact player. He's been getting a little crazy, to put it lightly. I've wanted him in New York for years.
Ever.
For years. He was the only reason I followed the Cavaliers, is because I would watch Kyrie Irving play. What he does with the ball in his hands and the shots he can put up. And when he hit that game winner over Steph Curry, that step back to win the championship in Game 7, that was nuts. That was incredible. We were sitting on the couch and we were jumping up and down and surprised I didn't get a noise complaint. It was insane. So, I mean, on a personal level, I'd love to see Kyrie in New York. Do I think he's going to go there? He's probably going to end up in Brooklyn.
Which is disgusting.
Which, hey, it's a nice arena.
I don't.
It's not the team's fault. It's just that's not a good fit.
I don't think he'll end up. He's smart enough not to end up there. I don't think he'll take a
man.
Flat Earth.
I hope he's smart enough not to take a contract there, because if he goes there, then he's basically signing his retirement tour.
Nah, he's young enough. He can go wherever he wants.
Retirement
tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, retirement tour in his late 20s.
I mean, like,
or is he mid 20s?
he would be. He was going there. If he went there, he would basically be the only person that would be, the head of the team. Doing everything. He getting body checked all the time.
Team. Listen. I'm going to tell you why you're wrong in a second here. Let Kevin finish his list because I'm sitting here shaking like.
So I have Klay in my top 5. Even before the injury, I didn't think he was leaving the Warriors. I don't know if he gets to be in the top 5 with the injury, but after the finals that Klay had,
Klay deserves top 5.
I thought Klay was the best player in the series.
Klay.
I know Kawhi was a monster, and the Raptors had a lot of good players, and Steph was insane. But I think Klay had the best series. What he was doing from deep and the shots that he was putting up, it was he had such an impact. But I never thought he was leaving the Warriors. I don't think he's going to leave the Warriors now, especially with the injury. Moving on to the last player in my top 5 is Kemba. And I think that Kemba is the best fit for the Lakers.
Shut up.
Absolutely. I think he's the best fit for the Lakers. I think you take Kemba over Kyrie Irving.
I would agree.
They're around the same age. But yeah, Kemba's a little undersized. He's 6'1", but Kemba just averaged close to 26 a game, 6 assists.
It's not hard to do when you're the only good player on your team.
But Kemba's been improving for years, and I think he's a guy who doesn't need the ball like Kyrie needs the ball. And when you have Anthony Davis and LeBron James, you need somebody who doesn't need the ball, and that's why I think Kemba fits in better. And he's gonna play a little bit harder on defense.
Okay.
Kemba's also a good assister. He's a good passer as well.
If his guys hit the shots, he'd probably have more assists. But
let me tell you why it's only 3 people on this list that matter. Number 1, Kawhi Leonard. Wherever he goes, whether he stays in Toronto, he goes to the Clippers, rumored to go to the Knicks. That's the only scenario where he won't win. But wherever he ends up going, somehow if he manages on the Lakers, it's game over for everybody. But I think he'll stay in Toronto. If he doesn't stay in Toronto, he's probably going to go to the Clippers. Doesn't make sense to me, but it probably will. The thing is, doesn't matter. Wherever Kawhi goes, he's going to win the title next year. KD is gone. KD is gone. KD's gone for a year. So that's his main source of competition. So the Warriors...
Just wait for my Knicks, man.
The Warriors are going to be... Hey, listen. The Warriors are going to be... Klay is going to be hurt until February. So Klay's basically gone for a year, which I think Klay Thompson should stay in Golden State. It only makes sense.
Yeah.
But, so you got... The Warriors are depleted. Kawhi, if he stays in Toronto, it's almost a guarantee to win next year. Because LeBron and Anthony Davis are not going to figure it out in one season. They have so many pieces missing. They're not going to figure it out in 1 year. Except... if the other guy, if Kyrie goes to the Lakers, then it's interesting. Because that is a guaranteed whatever team Kawhi is in against the Lakers at the end of the season. Unless he goes to the Clippers, then it's West versus West. But if Kawhi stays in Toronto and Kyrie, listen, I know no one wants to hear it, but Kyrie is better than Kemba Walker. I mean, leagues above Kemba Walker. And this is no disrespect to Kemba, but Kyrie is pretty much like, we saw how good him and LeBron get along in Cleveland. They can win a title. If they didn't get hurt, if Kyrie didn't get hurt that first year, they probably would have won 2 in a row. So we know how well they mesh. He probably wants to go to Brooklyn. He wants to go to New York. If he wants to win a title next season, the easiest route and the best route would be the Lakers. Because Anthony Davis and LeBron are both going to want the ball. But I mean,
Lakers don't have enough. They don't have enough money to give them.
No, they'd have to do some magic to get these guys. They need the Anthony Davis to.
He'll have to waive
that. I think it's $4.5 million. It's $4.5 million or something like that.
But I mean, it's argued
they need to do some other things.
It's argued that they couldn't figure it out. That LeBron and AD need the ball in their hand. It's the same stuff people said about LeBron and Kevin Love. Now, Kevin Love is not as good as Anthony Davis.
Kevin Love's a spot-up shooter now.
But they proved it worked back then. It could easily work now. And this is a more, like, you want to talk about they can easily win a championship. They did it a couple years ago. They could definitely do it now. The only person standing in their way is Kawhi. Wherever Kawhi goes, he's going to win. If Kyrie goes to the Knicks, the Nets, one of those other teams, and he just becomes the best player on that team, that means nothing. there's a guy that no one's talked about who's probably going to become a free agent thanks to the fact that the Nets completely blew it.
Yeah, I want to talk about him next.
D'Angelo Russell, if he went to the Lakers, that is better than Kemba Walker. He's younger. He would fit right in.
Yeah, he's been there, done that.
And he's been there, done that. So
that's why he wouldn't go.
The expectations up. Magic Johnson's gone. All those guys are gone that wanted him out of there. So he might be like, yeah, no, I'm ready. If you tell me I'm going to be able to pass the ball to Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and that's going to be my main job, and put up buckets every now and then, D'Angelo Russell would be the best pick if Kyrie Irving wasn't here. If either of those guys
went to Toronto,
Kyrie's not going to Toronto.
Hey,
but it's not going to happen.
With the team success of last year, and with that city behind them, why not?
No, it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen because they're not. What are you gonna do? Trade Kyle Lowry? They don't have the money to sign Kyrie. I mean, they gotta resign. They gotta resign Marc Gasol too. So it's not just Kawhi. Toronto has to get Kawhi and Marc Gasol. Like, to think that they're gonna try to go for anybody else.
Was a free agent.
He is. That's why I'm saying they're gonna have to re-sign Kawhi and Marc Gasol. They're both free agents.
I don't even know what Marc Gasol signed for. He made $24 million last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Why don't you just get rid of Marc Gasol and keep Ibaka?
And sign Kyrie?
And sign Kyrie.
Serge Ibaka is way too old now. He's getting up there.
But if you have.
Why would they change that team at all? I get it. I agree with you. Irving is a better player than Lowry, easily, but it works. If Kawhi stays in Toronto, it doesn't matter.
See,
the only thing that matters is if Kawhi stays in Toronto, the only player that can make a difference is Kyrie going to the Lakers or D'Angelo Russell going to the Lakers. The Lakers are realistically, they have two of the top 5 players in the world right now. If they get a point guard who can pass the ball to them properly and hit buckets whenever they want, it doesn't matter who it is. I don't think Kemba can do it as well as those two guys. I think Kemba could come in and play really good, but I think Kyrie and D'Angelo, those guys are on another level. And D'Angelo's even younger. Could you imagine when LeBron retires, they still have Anthony Davis and D'Angelo Russell in their primes?
Have Kemba or Kyrie too.
But Kemba and Kyrie wouldn't be in their primes when LeBron retires. They're going to be starting to hit that age where they're still going to be really great players, but they're not going to be the best in the world. D'Angelo hasn't hit that yet, and we just saw a little bit of it. No, I think he will. We just saw a little bit of it with Brooklyn, and Brooklyn just said, we're thinking about signing Kyrie. We might not bring you back.
Yeah, but the thing about D'Angelo Russell is he's a restricted free agent. So
yeah, but he literally made them a playoff team. Yeah. If it wasn't for him, they wouldn't have been in the playoffs last year.
If it wasn't for them being in the East. So, yeah. All right, let's move on. I want to go through the list and just say somebody and what you think they're gonna do. Just yell at the team. Chris Middleton stays.
Yeah. Why would he leave?
Yeah, I agree.
Why would he leave Milwaukee?
Anyone? Any other differing opinion? Different opinions. Anyone think Chris Middleton's gonna leave the Bucks?
If he was smart, he wouldn't. But people aren't smart.
We kind of touched on.
If he were to leave, I could see him going to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Philly. I'd be if Philly didn't take on if they dropped either Jimmy Butler or Tobias Harris.
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, I mean, if they choose to drop both, I could see them.
Kind of talked about
him going there, but yeah.
The only thing I'm really thinking that this free agency this year is basically focused around, in my opinion, three teams.
Well, you got a lot of teams.
Those three teams do.
Because this free agency class is ridiculous.
No, but that's what I mean. You have Toronto. Lakers. You have Toronto, the Lakers. Hold on. You have Toronto, the Lakers, and you also have the Golden State Warriors.
False.
The reason why we can't hold on. The reason why they are those three teams are in control of the draft is
the draft.
What happens if the free agency?
We knew what you meant.
If Lowry does not sign back with Toronto, where does he go?
You're all over the place.
How much have you been drinking?
Listen. But the thing is, if he doesn't go back to Toronto, where does he go? Where does he fit? That he can fit under cap space.
Kawhi?
Clippers.
It's not going to be. It won't be.
Kawhi can go to either New York team. He can go to the Clippers. There are tons of teams who have. There's a lot of cap space.
This is not about the teams. This is about the players.
It's
the players have
control. It's all about the teams.
No, it's not, Ben. Kawhi Leonard can literally go to any team he wants and win a title next year. I'm telling you right now, that is a bold prediction. If he went to the Orlando Magic, he would win a title in Orlando. If he went to the New Orleans Pelicans and played with Zion Williamson and Lonzo Ball, he would win a title next year. If he went to Atlanta with all those players we named earlier, he would win a title next year. The only person that can stop that is Kyrie Irving going to the Lakers. Kyrie goes to any other team, it doesn't matter. D'Angelo Russell could go to the Lakers, they're not going to win next year. The only player that matters is Kawhi Leonard.
The Milwaukee Bucks could throw a whole big wrench in that.
No, they don't have money, Ben.
They don't have cap space.
They don't have money. You're forgetting that these teams. They need money.
I'm saying if he stays with Toronto.
Just hear Fritz breathing deeply in the background, like, what the heck are you talking about, Ben?
Yeah,
Stop being dumb.
No, but I'm saying 3 teams. You have to watch what these 3 teams do, and if these 3 teams will basically tell you what the rest of the free agency will do for the rest of the year.
No, if I was a free agent, I would watch where Kawhi Leonard goes and then plan accordingly. Because after wherever Kawhi goes, all the other players need to say, okay, where do we need to team up to try to beat this guy? Because if he stays in Toronto, it's a wrap. It's over. It's over. The only person that can stop it is Kyrie Irving. No, you're saying the teams. You're saying the teams. You're not saying the players.
Because what happens when a team doesn't sign a person that's there for $35 million? All of a sudden, $35 million is open up to free agency.
I mean, to be fair, I'd rather have Kawhi Leonard paying him $35 million than
gonna
playing Nikola Vucevic.
I would too.
I don't know, Malcolm Brogdon.
You also have
between the two.
But it's also who wants to go to Toronto.
Who wants to go to the Knicks? Who wants to go to Orlando? Who wants to go to the Miami?
I'm not saying that anyone does. I'm not saying that anyone does, but you're saying Toronto controls their destiny.
If you really wanted to, you could sit there and tell the NBA, forget about the East. We're only taking any teams from the West. And that would make the NBA playoffs much more competitive.
If they just got rid of
If they just got rid of the East.
The East just won the NBA Finals.
What are we talking about now? We just went from free agency
to
talking about abolishing the East.
When was the last time the Heat?
What track did we take to get here?
When was the last time the East won the playoffs?
Last year. This year. As in last year, as in the immediate past championship. The one before that, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
LeBron won.
Before that, the Miami Heat. Basically LeBron.
Abolishing the East.
Basically LeBron, and where's LeBron now?
But before that, what has it been?
Yeah, but LeBron didn't even make the playoffs, buddy. LeBron needs another piece. All right, Anthony Davis will not be enough. It's either a bunch of role players. The only way they can the only way that they can win next year. I'm not talking about the future, but immediately next year is if Kyrie Irving goes to the Lakers because he meshes well with LeBron and LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Kyrie. Just put a bunch of role players around them.
Nah,
they're set.
I think what you're forgetting is that these top 3 kings with LeBron, there's always one that falls down. You know, Chris Bosh went from being a 25 and 10 guy
you know who will fall? It's gonna be Anthony Davis, and he's not gonna have a problem because he's gonna win a title.
Oh God, no! Anthony Davis.
Maybe LeBron falls because he's old and he doesn't care anymore.
Nah,
he's like, whatever. I'll get a ring if Kyrie comes here. I'll take fewer shots. I don't care.
LeBron's LeBron.
LeBron might be LeBron, but at the same time, he's also older. Maybe he's just like, I want a title. Kyrie and Anthony, you guys take over, and I'm still gonna be LeBron James, but I'm not gonna be as dominant, especially because he got hurt last year. But the teams have no power. Come on, Ben.
I mean,
not with these guys. Not with these guys. Not with the big names.
This free agency, it's a lot of big names.
I think Jake has a lot of. It's a lot of big names, and it's a lot of money being thrown around. And if some of these teams that have big money cash that have cap space, if they don't sign these guys, what are they going to do with that?
I mean, they're the only ones that can sign these guys. So.
Yeah, but so if they don't sign these guys, they're not going to do anything, Ben. because these are the guys that matter. They could sign the Knicks could sign Jimmy Butler.
We talked about it with the Knicks. The Knicks could lose out on Kawhi and Kevin Durant and Kyrie and end up with Jimmy Butler
and Vucevic. Yeah, and that would be a good team. Don't get me wrong. They would make the playoffs, but they don't matter. They're not going to be in the finals. They don't matter. The two teams that will matter is, if my wish comes true, would be Kawhi staying in Toronto and Kyrie going to the Lakers, because tell me that would not be an entertaining finals. Tell me that would not be this Toronto team that showed how great they are as a unit.
Here's a separate question about Leonard. What happens if the Spurs pick him up?
That's not gonna happen.
That's not gonna happen. He's not gonna re-sign with them.
I don't even know what they have in cap space.
What kind of take is that?
I mean, I'm just thinking
he's never gonna go back to them. He left for a reason. He demanded a trade. It's not gonna happen. I mean, Ben, I get it. I get where you're coming from. If the teams don't sign these guys, what are they gonna do next? It's a good question.
You're gonna have a big money draw coming in, and
the Spurs don't have any cap space. They can't even sign Kawhi. What are you?
It's not about if these guys leave. Oh, they'll be able to sign someone else because they have money. No, the player has to want to go to that team. Like, that's the reason why we're having this talk. We don't know if Kawhi is going to stay in Toronto because he's made it very clear he wants to play in Los Angeles. We think it would be smart for him to stay in Toronto because they're going to give him money, and he's going to probably win another championship. I think it'd be smart for Kyrie to go to the Lakers because he's going to get money there, and he'll probably win a championship playing with LeBron and Anthony Davis. But we don't know if they're going to do that because I might want to go to New York. I might want to be in my hometown, which would be good. They have the money to do that. That doesn't mean they're going to win. I'm saying these guys would win if they went to those places. A bunch of teams have money, but it doesn't matter if they don't win. Yeah, you can make all the money in the world, and you know what? Good for you. You're rich, but your legacy.
Look at the Yankees.
All right. So speaking about Kawhi and Toronto, let's move on to another story that popped up with Canada in the news. Let's talk about the Rays working with the MLB to be a two-city team. So for those of you who don't know,
that's just Tampa's fault.
The Tampa Bay Rays have received permission from the MLB to explore playing their home games in two different cities. The first half of the season, or however many games, at the Trop in St. Pete, and the second half in Montreal, where the Expos played. What do you guys think of that? I mean, we're all from the Tampa area. We go to Rays games. What do you guys think about that?
Okay, I'm just going to get this out real quick because I know there's someone in here that has a very much better opinion than me on this. But this is partially due on the owner. This is partially due on the stadium. And this is partially due on the fans. Trop sucks.
It has a lot to do with the city.
No, the Trop sucks. The Tropicana Field is an awful stadium to go to. But the fan, obviously the owner, he's made it very clear he doesn't know what he really wants to do. I want to keep him in Tampa, but I'm not sure if I want to keep him in Tampa. This is an awful idea. It's not going to work.
But here's the thing about
fans
Tampa,
don't show up to the games.
Here's the thing. Well, where it is, Ben kind of said it where the stadium is. I mean, that part of St. Pete was a little iffy for a while. It's not as bad now.
It's getting back to being iffy.
The thing, the lease ends at the Trop in what, 2027?
Yeah.
Something like that. So what, 8 more seasons? And how many times have they put forward a stadium to be built closer to Ybor, or a brand new stadium, and it gets turned down by the city? There's no support.
3 or 4.
How many times have we walked into the Trop, and there was the designs for the new stadium?
Yep. And
that stadium just it never happens.
Nope.
That's why I think
every time.
I think that. This is the news that they're exploring being a two-city team. I think the Rays are just gone.
Yeah.
I think maybe they build that other stadium and
they
do two-city till the contract ends. But I think they're just gone. They're going to Canada.
I say they're gone in 3 years.
I don't think they're gone.
Yeah, I think they're gone. This city doesn't care.
This city
doesn't care about baseball.
This city doesn't care about.
How can you care about baseball when your team is always
because
bad?
you have hockey. You have hockey here.
No. Listen, when the Bucks are good, the Bucks sell out. All right, the Bucks just aren't good.
Yeah, but losing his franchise in NFL history.
Losing his franchise in NFL history. But when the Bucks are good, the Bucks sell out. If the Rays were good, the Rays are good this year.
They were good.
They are good this year.
They still are. But they're not selling out.
They're not selling out because this is happening. Why would you want to go see a team that might move? No one wants to go see a team that might move. That was a huge mistake. They're in the middle of a winning season, and you announced that. That is the worst timing. Like, you want to talk about terrible timing.
Because even when they were going to the year they went to the World Series, the only time the Trop sold out was the playoffs.
Yeah.
And not even all of the playoffs.
Completely sold out.
I don't think it was sold out
ring being
the later rounds in the World Series.
I mean,
I think they got to the ALCS and they were selling out.
During the ALCS is when they were selling out.
When they were playing the Red Sox, they were selling out.
But the only reason why they were selling out is because Boston fans were flying down, buying tickets for the Trop because it's cheaper.
It was $69 for Southwest to fly from Boston to Tampa. And then it was another like $75 cheaper to get a playoff ticket.
Yeah,
I think I gotta get some off.
Yeah,
I completely agree with your point. So, I wholeheartly blame this on ownership. Ownership for their entirety of their existence. I don't remember the first owner's name. It was like Vince something. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Real quick.
But
keep going.
He was a terrible owner, and then sold the team to Stu Sternberg, who is like supposed to lead us into this rebuilding and everything, and was committed to the Trop at the time and like putting money into it to make it not terrible. Which I do give him credit. He did put money into the team. However, you cannot, over the past 5 seasons or so, you cannot say what you have said and not piss off the Tampa Bay area. It is unbelievable, like what he has done, threatening to move the team. Why would that be your first option, to threaten to move? Like a franchise that has not had the success and has not won over the city. Like, why would you threaten to move? Like,
there's a reason why.
If you want the city to pay for it, like, you don't do that. And especially after what happened in Miami with the Marlins, the state of Florida and the city of Tampa or St. Pete, nobody in the state is going to allow that to happen again.
Yeah.
Like with the perennial sucking. Oh, build me a new stadium and we're going to win. No, that's absolutely not going to happen. And it frustrates the heck out of me because they are a franchise that I grew up watching. But I'm done. Like, I am putting in my player option and I am saying I am done.
Hey,
I am going out in the free agency. I am going to find a new baseball team. Whether they're successful, whether they're closer to me,
the 7-line army is taking applications. You can be a Mets fan whenever you like.
I am taking all offers on the table. If anybody wants to send me free swag, hit me up. But Tampa has done nothing in the past 5 seasons. I honestly stopped watching in college because with college and time and everything, you just had less time. But B, what were they doing that would want me to watch?
I haven't.
They were doing nothing.
I can tell you what they did to try and boost up, everybody coming in and trying to be more family-friendly stadium. They put in a Stingray tank, and that was their big thing for 2.5 years.
That's been there.
Yeah, that's been there for a while.
A long time.
No, but that's what I mean, though. But that's the last big upgrade, you could say, that they've done to the stadium.
They've done giveaways. They've done concerts. They've done the experiences.
But I mean, like actual, like the stadium structure itself.
The stadium itself is garbage. The stadium is one of the biggest issues. No one wants to drive to St. Pete to go watch a Rays game. I mean, the traffic's awful.
But I don't want to drive to Tampa for a Bucks game or a Lightning game. But I care for the I care for the Lightning enough that I'm even willing to go to a Lightning frickin' Orlando. And I-4 is a terrible road.
Yeah.
Terrible.
You don't have to remind me. You don't have to remind me.
It's one of the most deadliest roads in America.
And I will gladly drive that to go watch a Bolts game because not only has the owner time. He's put in his own money, not only in the stadium and the team, but also the community. What he's doing with giving away $50,000 a game to different charities is amazing. And he's creating an experience for fans that is unlike any other. He is winning over people because of the money he's putting in. Thus, he's getting a heck of a lot more money out of it. And I'm sure whenever the Lightning want to build a new arena, like not for a couple, like 10, 20 more seasons, hopefully, he's going to get it and he's going to get it done. But nobody's going to be willing to put in money for a stadium for an owner that has done absolutely nothing for the community, the team.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit for the stadium, but like,
I think that baseball is just it's just fading out, and these stadiums are just way too big for their own.
Well, a lot of the baseball thing is baseball is making more money than ever, but a lot of that just because people watch it. Like you watch it on TV.
Yeah, just
every Rays game is on.
Yeah,
you turn on the TV and you go to what's the channel?
Sun Sports.
Sun Sports. And there you go. You have the Rays games. You have the Marlins games. You get to watch the game. So why would I pay? Why would I drive an hour to go to a Rays game? Why would I pay $20 for parking? Why would I pay $40 for food when I'm at the game when I can just watch it online on my couch?
That again plays into my like. Why would people want to go to a Yankee game? Why would people want to go to a Phillies game? Why would people want to go? Like, it's the experience. It's the team. It's you want to see it in person and say that you've been there. Like Tampa in early May was in first place, yet they had one of the worst attended games in all of the Rays history, and they were in first place.
Yeah.
Now, you could look at a team like Tampa. You could look at a team like Seattle. Seattle is also having a terrible season. Terrible. And nobody's going to those games. But Tampa's at least fighting for first and fighting for the wild card. I will gladly let Montreal have this disaster of a franchise. Gladly. And I will not want to care. I don't care anymore. I will pick a new team. I've had 20 years of disappointment. I've had 20 years of being in a glass case of an emotion, mostly just being depressed because I was such a diehard baseball and Rays fan, and I just don't even care anymore.
Yeah, no, the owner doesn't care, and he's proved he doesn't care. And I wanted to share a story real quick because this is how much the Rays have this is how it makes us feel watching them. Ben, Kevin, and I went to a game last year, and they were losing. They were losing the whole game. It was awful.
Oh yeah.
You sit in the trop. And the trop is so depressing. It's such a depressing area.
It's dark. It dims the light.
They dim the lights. It's so awful, and you're just like, this doesn't feel this doesn't just not feel like a baseball game. It doesn't feel like a sporting event. We go see the St. Lucie Mets.
Yeah, Port
and
St.
it
Lucie.
feels more like an actual baseball game than any Rays game I've ever been to. But the Rays game we went to, we were losing the whole game, and we go, you know what, we can't take it anymore. We're like, we're gonna beat traffic. We're not dealing with traffic. We're going home. We went home, they hit the Rays hit a grand slam
grand
slam home run
to win the game, and it's like, oh, we could have been there to see it, and it's like, but do we really care?
Yeah, we didn't care.
Do we really care? Like, it doesn't matter. The Rays, they've repeatedly proven time and time again, like the city does not support them. The stadium's in a terrible location, and the owner really is awful. Like, you went into plenty of reasons why. It just doesn't matter. If they go to Montreal, so be it. I mean, I don't want to lose the Tampa team. They're Tampa. I don't want Tampa to go. But if we lose them, I mean, it's not like if the Bucks left, I'd be crying. Like if the Buccaneers or the Lightning left, I'd be in tears. I'd be picketing. I'd be protesting. If the Rays left, it's like makes sense considering everything that's happened for the last 20 something years.
All right, now if I may, let me pose a question. So. Yeah, we already know everything that the owner's done, and it hasn't been kind to the city and everything that's been said and all the threats. But how much of it is an environmental factor? So let me explain that a little bit. How much of it is people retire to Florida? My family comes from New York.
Well,
the only reason we're Rays fans is because we live next to the team, so we'll go to Rays games every once in a while. But my family's, we're all Mets fans.
Yeah.
the only time we go to Rays games as a family is when the Mets are in town.
Yeah.
And the Mets are coming to the city. And how much of that impacts the Rays? Is that no one's really a fan of the Rays or an expansion team?
I will.
Before we answer this question, I got a question that goes off this, Kevin.
No.
Wait. No, it's just thinking about it, and you were saying it. Are the Rays just in the bad location because of all the spring training around us?
Well, that was going to be part of my question too. The entire state of Florida has spring training everywhere, and when spring training games are in town, and we live where we were living in the 727, we had the Blue Jays and the Phillies.
Yeah.
And anytime you went to those spring training games,
and then you had Yankees
packed. Yeah, we had Tampa Yankees. It's packed. And we always did our annual trip to Port St. Lucie because, again, I'm a Mets fan. So, those games were packed.
Yeah.
Does the spring training hurt?
I don't really think so. I don't think so because you look. So, that was an older generation of Florida where you think about the state of Florida, you think about retirees, everybody moving down here because of taxes, what have you. There's a whole new generation of actual Floridians that are born here, that are raised here, that you just think about top 25 cities in America, and a lot of them are from Florida. You think about Orlando, Miami, Tampa, and Jacksonville. There are 4 cities right there. And that's a whole new generation of fans that you can cultivate and really make you fall in love with their team. Look at the Lightning. When I was in middle school, the Lightning were terrible. And with this new owner and giving back to the community and actually making a presence,
no, they were.
It made a whole new experience. But with the Rays,
they won a Stanley Cup when I was a kid.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. But there's no effort. There's no effort put in by the Rays. And I remember watching the World Series. I remember watching the Stanley Cups and the Super Bowls for the Bucks. Or the Super Bowl for the Bucks.
The Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl.
But
it's like I carried away.
Those were exciting times, and those are memories that the Rays, they have at least the Lightning have added on to memory, experiences. The Rays just haven't.
Yeah.
And I also think that the Trop itself, they need to do something with the actual stadium to either get rid of the roof, make it a retractable roof, make it more presentable than just it's a baseball stadium.
Nah, I think the stadium's a lost cause at this point.
I think the Trop, if they were going to stay in Tampa, you need to tear the Trop down.
But you can also
build something
do something
that's a lot
about
prettier
it.
than the Trop, somewhere in the actual Tampa area. They
For
would
a
benefit
long
just by
time.
putting a stadium closer to Ray J.
Maybe.
If
people
go to Bucks games, people will go to Rays game if it's closer to Ray J. But I don't think it's going to happen anyway because I think they're gone. I honestly do think they're gone.
Yeah, I think they're gone.
I think the owners made it clear.
The owners made it clear.
I don't think it's anything to do either though with Snowbirds coming down here. And
Snowbirds are Snowbirds.
They have their team. Well, no, but the whole conversation was there's a bunch of people that
people
came from
move.
up north
People move here.
and came to Florida.
Ben's a Phillies fan.
Yeah, you're
Ben's
Mets,
family's from
you're
there.
a
My
Mets
whole
fan.
family's a Mets.
He's a Phillies fan,
fan.
but Jake hit it on the nail. We're 25 years old, 24, 26. We grew up with the Rays. This has been our team. The Bucks, the Rays, the Lightning, they have always been my teams. The only one that I don't care about is the Rays. So, and it's not. Listen, the Bucks are the worst franchise in NFL history, and they've won a Super Bowl.
The most losingest franchise in NFL history.
They are the worst franchise. Statistically
pretty.
speaking, they are awful, but they still have a Super Bowl. I have that little banner over those Lions fans.
Well, I mean,
I don't know. I'm pretty close to getting rid of them too.
No, you're not allowed to get rid of them. We have to suffer together for them, okay? You have to suffer through the Bucks together, all right?
Go Giants.
Our parents suffered through the Bucks. We have to suffer through the Bucks. They suffered through cream.
I don't know. My dad's a Detroit Lions and a Detroit Tigers fan.
You
so
sure you want
I
to be
could
a
always
Lions fan? Are you sure you want to be a Lions fan? They've never even made it to the Super Bowl, so the Bucks already have that over them.
This is a baseball.
But at least,
baseball team.
Yeah.
You guys have any more to say on the Rays being a two-city team?
It would suck if they left, but I get it.
I think I would like to say it would be kind of cool just to see it happen.
What, the two of them?
Yeah.
Like,
Just to be a
split between
two-city
the two
team,
teams?
just to like,
No. Okay, hey,
just
I
to
have
be
a
like,
question.
I was around when that happened,
I have a quick
and that
question.
affected me.
I have a
Like, you get to
Oh,
tell that to your
God.
Where would they
grandkids.
play playoff games?
That
What if they
it's a
made
great
the
question.
playoffs?
No,
What if
so-
you
Would they
do
play
like
them in
half-
Tampa?
Would you
Would
do
they play
half
them
the
in
series in
Montreal?
Tampa
No, they
and
play
you
them
go
in
to like games
Montreal.
5, 6, 7?
They have
Here's-
to. They're
here's
doing a
what
second
I-
half team in Montreal. They have to play their.
Here's what
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what I
they're-
figured.
I
That's
think
gross.
they're doing.
And how does that
It's-
affect season ticket holders? Like,
Now you get free tickets.
Oh
to
no,
Montreal
they're
games.
selling
There you
half
go.
seasons.
is that what it is?
Everything's half seasons.
they're
It has
half
to be.
seasons. Yeah.
That's what I.
Because
So that's what I
what I
want to see.
think-
I just want.
what
I
I
want it to
think they're
happen
gonna
just for that.
do-
Just for the craziness that would ensue and the insanity and being able to tell this story to my grandkids. Just like
The
going to the
internet is
Overwatch
around
League
at a
finals
perfect
and
time.
seeing that performance by
only
DJ
way-
Khaled, that terrible, awful performance.
God.
But you
That
can
was-
say it for forever.
that
But
was
I
so
was
bad.
there and
No,
it was incredible.
But here's the only way I think this could work. And I mean this with like a grain of salt. This is the only way I could see this working. Games are in Montreal when it's stupid hot here in Florida. Games are
summer.
in
Yeah, this-
Florida when
But they have a retractable dome.
No, so they're not going to build a dome in Montreal. That's why.
No,
I
but they
heard,
already
right?
they already
They're,
have
they're,
it.
they're
The
using the old
Olympic
one.
Stadium.
They already have it.
the-
They don't want to make it
Yeah.
a dome. Period. Right?
No, but that's what I mean. Like, you're gonna get, because Florida is all about their snowbirds. You're gonna get the people that live in Montreal during the summer,
I mean,
and
that's
then
kind
when
of a
they're
fair
down
point.
here, and
I
then when
don't know
they're
how
down
many
here,
that'd be though.
the team will be here during December,
I mean-
the cold months, and everybody from Montreal.
But you got to remember, baseball starts in
If you want,
in
if
like
you want
April,
No.
May. By that time,
I know.
snowbirds are already going back up north.
I mean, if you want,
Yeah,
And
but
when
that's
it
what I
gets
mean.
cold, when it
That's
gets
when
cold,
they're-
October
That's
is the
when-
playoffs.
yeah.
That's when it's cold. And that's when it'll be cold
So
in Canada.
basically,
You're not,
it would be, the first half of the season and a little bit after All-Star game, and then you switch. That's the only way
Oh, yeah,
I see this actually working.
that's the way they discussed it. You start half the season in Tampa, and then you probably around the All-Star game, which is coming up. Around this time, you head
Yeah.
back. up
that is
north.
one of the stupidest ideas I've ever heard of in my life.
I just want to
They
see it happen.
shouldn't do it. Keep the
It,
team.
think
it
it
Either
is,
move
but
the
it
team-
isn't at the same time.
Either move the team to Montreal and call it a day, or say, hey, we're going to build a new stadium in Tampa instead of St. Pete.
But what-
and they're
so what do they
actually
get
gonna be
called?
the Tampa Bay Rays.
Here's something
They keep
weird.
them here. So don't.
Are they the
don't
Tampa
split-
Bay Rays,
Yeah.
or are they like?
They're-
Well, what do they get called? Are they just the
I
Rays?
to
think they're-
Montreal? If they go to Montreal?
Or
they're just
no,
gonna
but do
probably
they
be
start half the
Rays.
season
What
the
if they
Tampa
just
Bay
wait,
Rays and then the
what if
Montreal
they really
Rays?
play like that evil villain thing and they just literally go, hey, yeah, we're the Devil Rays again. But now this time they're actually like devils, like they have horns. Like, I don't know. It's so stupid. It's honestly one of the dumbest things I've ever heard of. Splitting. No team wins in that situation. That's awful for the team. That
It's
sets
awful for the players.
That
It's
sets the
awful for
franchise
every-
back how many
It's
years?
awful. It's
I
awful
mean,
all the way. But here's the thing: it's awful all the way around.
but it would
but
be
if they do
entertaining.
it, what
to
But I
watch.
want to watch it happen. I want to see it
But if
happen.
what happens if they do it and it works out?
It's not.
Then what?
That's the bad
No,
news.
No,
man.
if
No,
it
It's not
does,
gonna
if it
work.
does work out,
No,
then it,
no. But if it does, then
I don't-
what
I don't
happens
see-
with
I don't see
other
anyone else doing it.
teams? Other
I don't
sports.
see anyone else doing it.
And no one else will do it. I don't think it would happen. I mean, there's always been the rumor about
Or though maybe
a Florida
maybe
team playing in
maybe the
London.
Raiders play half their season in Oakland and
No,
half their season in
I've
Vegas.
heard the rumor
Maybe
of
something like that.
Jacksonville or the Bucks or some team
Going to like England.
officially playing in London. I mean,
Yeah.
if they ever wanted to test that waters of a team,
They've done that.
But that's a long
but-
flight that you can't really do that often.
yeah.
The travel to a different
Why,
country would be a
you
little
just
bit weird.
you fly out of Tampa. They do it. They've done it
Yeah,
every
Ben,
year.
it's still hours
The
worth
Green
of
Bay
flights.
Packers-
Yeah,
the
but
Green
it's
Bay
different when
Packers are
half
playing
of the
the-
season.
No,
if
but
half of
Green
your
Bay
season
Packers-
is in London and the other half is in Tampa. I mean, we're talking about how many games are there in the baseball season? There's
162.
162. There's only 16 games
62,
in
81.
football. Could you imagine you spend 4 games in Tampa, 4 games in London, and then 8 games
Traveling the rest of the
everywhere
US?
else? That would be
It's tough.
awful. The team would never win. So it's not maybe baseball it might work just because there's so many games.
Half the time you're out on the road.
No,
anyway.
I'm not even thinking about like football. I'm thinking about more of like
What, hockey and
basketball and soccer.
There's no basketball team that will do that. I can tell you right now. There's not a basketball team in the NBA that is going to split time with another city. It's not going to happen. They'll just move. The only city, by the way, that's comparable is Seattle. Seattle's the only city that serves a basketball team that doesn't have one right now.
You just get Vancouver and Seattle. Boom, one team right there. All right, let's move on. One of the other subjects I want to talk about was some things that have been happening in the video game world.
Oh, we skipping over the Lightning?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I skipped the NHL.
Skipping hockey. Man, this one really doesn't care about hockey.
So, yeah, to show how much I care about hockey, I just completely skipped it in my notes. The draft happened. I don't watch hockey at all. The only time I ever watch hockey is when the Rangers are in the playoffs.
And that's it. Once every 5 years.
And they had a good stretch there for a while, so I watched the playoffs for a little bit.
That was what, 5 years ago?
No, not that long. But hockey's just not my cup of tea. It's just not something I really got into.
Hockey Bay USA.
But I'm gonna let Fritz lead this conversation because he is our former season ticket holder. Used to go to a lot of games.
Now, hold on. Before
he is
Fritz
a huge
goes,
Lightning fan.
I have a question for him.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to see where he feels about this. I was at game 1 of that Columbus game, or that Columbus series, and I witnessed them blow that 3-0 lead 4-3. And I could tell right there that we were going to lose the series. I knew right away. I was like, they're done. That's it. I thought it was hilarious this week watching Kucherov walk away with 3 trophies and then watching Vasilevsky get the best goalkeeper and, you know, just realizing they did absolutely nothing in that series. They did nothing in the playoffs. And yet they're getting the President's Trophy. They're getting all these trophies. Congratulations on your great season. I just want to know if you agree with me. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing.
No, it does.
So all those trophies are based on their performance in the regular season.
Yeah, that's great. But when you win 62 games, you got to win a game in the playoffs.
But that's a whole nother subject. But what they did in the regular season was remarkable, tying the Detroit Red Wings with the most points ever for a regular season. That is remarkable, and that should be awarded. The playoffs, however, obviously are a different story. Like, obviously, it was horrific.
Yep.
Horrific what happened. We just got bullied. Like, physically, and I do think that the boys were tired. Like, that is 62 games with, like, those wins that you were on your absolute A game. Yeah. And how many games you took to overtime, all of that plays a factor. And hockey is an abusive sport. There are hits in hockey that are sometimes worse than professional football. And it is absolutely insane. And then they may play the next night, may play a couple of nights from now. Like, hockey is an insane sport, and it tires out all those guys, which makes it even more remarkable with what the Blues did. But obviously we're talking about the Bolts.
Well, okay, so I wanted to make a comment on the Blues because the Blues, they accomplished something amazing this season. I mean, any team that keeps Boston from winning the championship, that's a thumbs up in my book. But that's
it's
not, also they have
the accomplishment is not beating Boston. That's
no. The accomplishment is winning the Stanley Cup. But
yeah,
the thing is, hold on, Ben. Hold on. So, what I was going to get to is, yes, congratulations to the Blues. That's great. But this whole season, the only thing that mattered, they could have won. They are arguably one of the greatest teams ever assembled. And they blew it. They absolutely blew it. That's great. You know what? You guys had a great season. You tied the record with the Red Wings. You deserve all these trophies. But I don't want them to go, oh, yeah, we had a great year, pat on the back, participation trophy. You got swept out of the first round by a team that's never won a playoff series.
I think they're pissed off. I think they are absolutely pissed off.
You know how it feels to be a fan, because I'm very pissed off. How we've been hearing for years how amazing they are, and they finally show how amazing they are, and they blow it. And not just in the finals, they blow it in round one. I don't care about the interviews. I just want to see him win. I don't care about the interviews.
Okay, Jake. Then if you don't care about the interviews, then you don't understand where their mentality is.
No, what their mentality is that they can't handle pressure and they just lose. That's all that
No,
matters.
that
I
is
don't
not-
care what they say in
no.
interviews. They're doing damage control. They know how bad this is. Guys,
No, they're not.
This
That's
is
the
this
thing,
is
they're
the
not doing
worst. This is the worst
No, it's
collapse
not
in
the
modern
worst.
sports. It's the worst.
No,
You
it's
lost
not.
to a team. You got swept by a team that's never won a playoff series by. First of all, they're being coached by your
Okay,
previous
but Jake,
head
you
coach.
can't.
He just
you can't
bullied
sit
you.
there and say that. You can't sit there and say that right now.
What do you mean I
Because they
can't say
just
that right
wanted.
now?
They swept two other teams. Or I'm sorry, they swept another team, and then they took teams that they were never supposed to be able to compete against to 7 games, and they won they won the Stanley Cup. So you're
I'm
saying
talking about Columbus.
that-
I am not talking about St. Louis. St.
I'm
Louis did
talking
not
about-
play the
yes.
Lightning. Columbus did not win the Stanley Cup.
I'm talking about the Blues themselves were never supposed to be
I'm
able
not talking
to make
about
it
the Blues.
past.
I'm talking about the Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets
Okay,
is the team that the
shut-
Lightning
Can you
lost to,
stop
Ben.
so I understand that.
So
Can
what point are
listen
you trying to
what
make?
I'm trying to tell you. The Blues were never supposed to win anything past the first round of the world or of the Stanley
Yeah.
Cup. Then they swept their next team.
They played
Anytime-
Boston. They played Boston the next round and lost.
Well, that
Columbus
was
did.
Columbus.
Columbus did. My
Columbus
whole
played
point
Boston
being
the
is-
next round.
But Ben, St. Louis has nothing to do with this conversation. Yes, they
It,
won the
has,
Stanley
it
Cup.
has a lot to do with
Ben,
the conversation.
they did not play Tampa Bay. The point is, it's
I
Tampa Bay
understand
right now.
that.
The Lightning
What-
got
that's
swept
not
by
what
the
I'm
Columbus.
saying.
What are you trying? I don't understand.
Right.
I don't understand.
Here,
What
as
I'm
a
trying-
non-hockey
what
fan,
I'm telling
let me
you-
throw this out here. As a non-hockey fan, the Tampa Bay Lightning were the most winningest team in regular season history of the NHL.
Thank you.
Winningest team ever. I'm talking about the Warriors winning 73 or whatever it was,
Yes.
being the best team ever during the regular season, and then getting swept in the first round of the playoffs. That is unacceptable. No matter who you are. You can argue that St.
No,
Louis
I'm
Blues
not
weren't
saying-
supposed to win as much as they did.
I'm not
It's
saying
like
it's acceptable.
a 16
I'm not saying
seed beating
anything
a
like
1
that.
seed and then winning the tournament. Maybe not to that level.
Not to that
but but the Lightning got swept after being the best regular season team ever.
They didn't just
period.
get swept. I mean, the whole point is they didn't just
Like,
get
they
swept. They got swept in the first round.
First
they got
round.
swept against a team that's never won a playoff series, and that has nothing to do with the St. Louis Blues. That has nothing to do with the St. Louis Blues. That is the Columbus Blue Jackets and John Tortorella saying, "Hey, you guys you're not that good. You guys can't handle pressure." You know, the Lightning. Every advertisement was, "We know it means nothing. We're gonna get the President's Trophy. We're gonna get all these trophies. We know it means nothing." And then they go out there and they don't even win a game. I mean, that is embarrassing. I mean, I'm at a point now. It's like, yeah, that's great, Kucherov. You won these trophies. Yeah, I'm hoping you're mad. But you know what? It doesn't matter. You guys have made the playoffs how many years now? This was supposed to be the year. I'm at a point now where I just want to blow it up. Right? Just trade away the assets. Honestly, I don't. Maybe keep Kucherov. Maybe keep Stamkos and Vasilevsky. Get rid of everyone else. Blow it up. I'm tired. They're going to be great again next season. I guarantee you. They're going to have a winning record with this team, and then they're going to make it to the second, third round, and then lose again. They're going to get our hopes up. This team cannot win under pressure. It doesn't matter. They just lost to a team that's never
but
won
you
a
can't
playoff
also
series.
sit there and tell a team, hey, you know, your 2 best scorers that have been through you basically every single game throughout the entire season, you got to win these games without them for 3-4 games.
Who are you talking about? Kucherov and Stamkos? They played.
No, Hedman, what do you call it? Kucherov was suspended for
Kucherov
game
got
3, which
suspended
is
after a dirty hit, which he deserved. What I'm saying is, Ben, they're great players. They have no reason to not show up in the playoffs like they do. They consistently. You see how great they are.
No,
in the regular
I'm
season,
saying
and
that
they blow it in
there's
the
no
playoffs.
reason that they shouldn't. But Tampa Bay should not be getting ready to sell all the assets because they lost in the first round of the playoffs.
They just lose. They got swept.
That's why the Rays don't want to be in Tampa. That's exactly why.
No, it's because the owner's garbage.
Yeah, no, because the Tampa Bay audience is probably, when it comes to bad news, it's worse than New York.
No.
Whoa,
Let me
hold
finish.
on a second.
Whoa.
No. You don't get to say that. That is not fair, all right? That's not fair. The Lightning fans have been very acceptable of losing this, okay? Because let me be very clear right now. If the New York Rangers, this is hypothetical, if they had tied the best record in hockey,
my God, do you know how much they'd be getting destroyed
in the first round by a team that's never won a playoff series? Are you telling me right now that those fans wouldn't be trying to burn the stadium down?
Look at Daniel Jones. The man got booed at practice.
He got booed at practice.
Like,
do not compare Tampa to New York.
Yeah,
it's not the same. We are very tame.
Can I finish my statement before you jump down my throat?
As long as you don't say anything stupid.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
we should just move on because that's
a very bad comparison.
No, it's when you think about it, it's not.
It's okay. Ben is just showing his bias. He's supporting his home team. There's nothing wrong with that.
What I'm
Jake,
okay.
what were you gonna say?
It's like saying then fine. It's like saying then that Dallas Cowboys win a Stanley Cup or I'm sorry,
I would love to see the Cowboys win a Stanley Cup.
No, they win.
I watched Dak
Lombardi
Prescott
Trophy,
check someone against the wall,
and then they don't even make it into the playoffs next year. And then
it happens in football all the time, though.
It does.
Ben, it's different.
And
it's
you're
different.
saying
it's 82 games
because it's hockey. It's 4 games. It doesn't happen. This is the first time it's happened.
That's why it's
a big deal.
That's why it's a big deal, Ben. You're acting like
I understand that.
No,
but
it's a big deal.
Yes, it's not going to be the next. It's not going to be the last time it happens. And that's where everybody needs to.
It's the first time it's happened.
Let's say about that.
Yeah,
right,
and I'm sorry that it happened to the Lightning, but everybody needs to take a chill pill. And they need to stop complaining about how we're the winningest team. Yes, I get we were. But when it comes to hockey, momentum is bigger in hockey than any other sport.
I agree with Ben on that point. Because you look at Columbus and how they played down the stretch. They needed to win.
They needed to win 10 out of 14 games to win. We locked up first place 2 months before playoffs even started. And then we still kept on winning. We should have never been playing at the level that we did for the last 2 months of the season. That's what I've been trying to say for months.
He took a very long trip to say that. But I mean, you look at St. Louis. St. Louis is the exact same way. They were last place in January 2nd. You see all those famous bets of people putting down $100 or $1,000, which, by the way, is if you are a gambler and you put down $1,000 on a last place team.
Man, you got some cojones.
Yeah, my God, like you're either an idiot, or you know something that everybody else didn't know.
Or you did it by accident.
It's rigged.
Oh, 100%.
It's already confirmed NHL rigged.
It's St. Louis. St. Louis was 100% a momentum team, and they deserved that Stanley Cup win. Yes. And it was a great Stanley Cup Finals to watch. And I'll even say, well, let's see, who was the Eastern Conference Final? It was Boston and. Oh God,
Carolina.
Who was the
Carolina? The Hurricanes.
It was Carolina. Watching Carolina, I completely forgot Carolina. Watching Carolina play was awesome. I think that just with the chaos of this playoffs, I think it was good for hockey.
It was.
Just to show the diversity and like all the oh God, I can't think of the word that I'm trying to think of, but it was really good just how evenly spread everything was. All the teams were, and then St. Louis coming out.
Isn't this the first time in NHL history that the number 1 seed from both sides got knocked out in the first round?
Probably.
I mean, it was the Lightning and the Flames. Calgary was the number 1
seed. Oh yeah.
And they got knocked out. So the Lightning and the
they were almost swept. I think they only won 1.
Yeah, they won 1 game by a prayer and a hope in overtime, and the goal should have never counted.
It's just, I understand what you guys are saying, and I completely agree with you. Momentum definitely plays a big part of it, but at the same time, boys.
Yeah, Calgary won game 1.
boys, they were the best team in history.
Yeah.
They're getting all these trophies, and oh, you're so great. They couldn't even win a game. They couldn't even win a game.
That's sports.
That's sports.
Sports.
Let me tell you.
That's professional sports.
As a fan, that is unacceptable. That is embarrassing. They should not be celebrating right now. They should be angry. I hope they're angry, and I hope they prove me wrong next season and they finally win one. Because I am tired for how many years now they've been relevant. They've been a playoff
they've
team.
Been close.
They've been so close, and this was finally going to be the year. And this was the biggest disappointment that you could possibly. Like, hey, by the way, we made the playoffs. We tied the record, and we didn't win a game.
But you can't be sitting there saying that we need to sell all the assets. We need to sell everybody. Get all of our money back.
No,
That's
I just said they need to keep Stamkos and Kucherov and Vasilevsky. But as far as I'm concerned, everyone else should be a tradable asset. You should start looking at possibilities because this team is clearly, as great as they are, they cannot handle pressure. They cannot handle the actual pressure of, hey, we need to win. Because every time it happens, it's like it's like how people talk about how Steph Curry can't take it to another level in the NBA Finals, and he finally did this year. He finally did. But most of the time in the NBA Finals, the Warriors did not win because Steph Curry popped off. The Warriors won because they were a great team. But this year, he finally did it. The Lightning are in that situation, but as an entire team. We know how great you are. We know how good, you're an amazing group of players. Just for whatever reason, when it gets to playoff time, you choke. I don't think that's acceptable after how many years of them being good.
If you're trading some of these guys, who are you trading them for, and what are you getting in return?
I mean, they got a first-round pick and a third-round pick from someone who was their fourth-string center the other day. So they've proven that they know how to make roster moves. It's very possible. Now, I'm not saying that they should trade everybody. That's just me being an arrogant fan. But at the same time, it's just very frustrating to hear for years how this is the polar opposite of the Rays. The Rays are garbage. We know they're garbage, and they want to leave. Well, I mean, if you leave, it sucks, but I guess the Lightning have gone out of their way to done everything right organization-wise. We have a great owner. We have a great general manager. We have a decent head coach. I don't want to call him great after what just happened. But they have all these great players. You have everything that you should have to win, and yet they still blow it. And I don't mean they just lose. They blow it.
But then, Jake, as a fan, you should not be saying, after your whole statement for the last minute, you should not be saying they need to trade everybody. I'm done with the team.
No, they need to trade away these. No, they do need to trade away some of these guys because they can't win in the playoffs.
No, they shouldn't. Because
I'll make this as my last point. I understand where Jake's coming from a leadership standpoint. I will continue to say John Cooper is a great coach because I do believe that. But there are some leagues that they heavily rely on the coaches and the managers and whatnot. I don't think hockey's one of them. I think that's the role of the captain. And I will say that I don't think Steven Stamkos, after that disaster, can be captain anymore. I think it has to move. I don't know if he's vocal enough. I don't know if he's. I think it's a psychological thing. It's a morale thing. I think it needs to move off of him. Now the question is where would I put it? I would probably either say McDonough or Hedman, and probably Hedman because of the tenure. But I don't even know how vocal Hedman is. So I mean, You could put it on McDonough because he's done it in New York. So that's my final thought on that. So.
All right. Well, we'll leave that conversation. That's a good way to end this.
Yes.
Lot of topic about the Lightning in our hockey section.
Listen, this is hockey.
Hockey talk in the middle of June, boys.
Hockey talk in the middle of June. It's still relevant. Damn it.
It's real to me.
More than baseball. Let's go, Lightning.
Hey, we talked a lot about that. We talked a lot about the Rays.
Before we move on, Fritz, did you hear about PK Subban yesterday?
Yeah. And I'll touch on that. I
don't know how I feel about that.
I think it's a great trade for Jersey, with the addition of Jack Hughes, who was number one overall pick in the draft, who is a United States boy, by the way. The U.S. Development Academy's just churning them out right now, and that's great for the popularity in hockey. But I think it's great for the sport, putting him in a metropolitan area. Nashville wanted to get rid of the contract. It's a $9 million a year contract.
Oh, that's what that was?
And New Jersey ate it all. And Nashville was willing to part ways with it. So I think it's a good trade. It makes him relevant. And you know what? I think it even keeps around Taylor Hall. So I think he's going into the last year of his deal. And they've got a lot of good pieces. So I expect to see some noise from the Jersey Devils in the Metropolitan Division.
And I also think that the Devils needed a face like that everybody knew, like Brodeur.
I don't think so. I think they were doing pretty good. It's not Adam Hall. It's Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall is really becoming that face for the Devils. And if he re-signs, he'll be beloved. And they've got a couple of number 1 picks in there. And like I said, Jack Hughes coming in. He'll be a couple years from now, but with him, I think he's going to Boston College. But I think Taylor Hall is really becoming that. PK will definitely fit into that mold, and it won't just be on one guy for that.
I agree. I agree entirely.
All right.
New Jersey robbed them.
Let's move on from that. The next topic I have written down is the one that I tried to skip hockey for originally. Was sports video games. Just some current event. There's some stuff that came out over the weekend about, and I just want to get you guys' opinions on this and just general thoughts on 2K19 having unskippable ads before every game.
I have 2K19.
Yeah, but when was the last time you played it?
I just played it recently because my brother and I talked him into buying it because PlayStation was doing a deal for $3. It was literally like $3 to buy the game. Fine, we'll buy it. I just played it last week. I have not played it since I heard about this, which this is new. The 2K TV's always been a thing that kind of plays before a game, and then there's the whole Ernie Johnson, Shaq, Kenny, they have those guys talk before the game. I have not run into unskippable ads. That's why as soon as I get home today, I'm playing it because I want to see what this is. Because if this is true, this is. Let me. I mean, it definitely looks like. So apparently, NBA 2K19 has unskippable ads.
But to me, it hasn't even been a big deal because 2K has always been any of those sports video games. It is have with Nike those very prevalent in these video games, and I don't see it as big of a deal as some people make it out to be, because whether you know it or not, they're already having just probably 30-second ads before an online game that you're and that's just going to be so. It doesn't make let the video game.
They all.
You still there, Fritz? Fritz, you're breaking up a little bit. So
I'm gonna make the argument that these guys make enough money off video games anyway, with the whole Ultimate Team and
they make a lot of Ultimate
Teams
and
those
stuff
random modes that you get a card and maybe basically gambling, but they don't want to call it gambling. But they make enough.
It's
money
another
with
way
that
for exposure.
Already. It's another way for exposure. I understand, but it's the NBA. I mean, people are going to pay for it.
I think it's also the fact that your 2K is paying someone to make a minute-long 2K TV episodes that are supposed to be run once a week or one every week on the 4 games. And if someone's skipping those 5 seconds into it, you're not getting
the value.
You're not getting you're not getting the bang for the buck for it. And
they already got my money when I spent $60 to buy a video game. That's how I view it. I spent $60 to buy your game. Most other games in every other realm besides sports games don't make you pay.
Well, that's where you're wrong, my friend.
No, not like that. Not like that. Hold on. DLC is one thing, but this isn't changing the game. This isn't adding anything new to the game. This is just, hey, here's an unskippable ad.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Overwatch is free DLC, Ben. It's not comparable.
But he's talking about loot boxes. You got a lot of games with loot boxes. I mean, Call of Duty's pretty really
Duty's
bad with it.
Really bad.
Battlefield's kind of bad with it, but
yeah, but there's no
Battlefront.
Ad.
Battlefront.
Yeah, Battlefront. Yeah, I mean Battlefront before they changed it all.
Unskippable ad though, an unskippable ad. Like I want to.
Yeah,
hey,
so
imagine you come home from work, you've worked all day, and you're like, I just want to play a game of 2K. And you come home, you turn it on, and before you can even play the game, you have to watch 2K TV to wait for the game to load. Okay, whatever. Press A, skip that. Oh, now I have to watch Shaq and Ernie Johnson. Well, I have to watch Shaq, Ernie Johnson, and Kenny the Jet Smith talk to me about my made-up game. Whatever. I'll skip that. Now I'll get to play the game. Nope. Now there's an ad for something else. Like, all of that just to play a single game.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's why I wanted to get your guys' opinion on because already playing 2K and knowing how much it takes to actually get into a game.
I mean, the online servers are not that good in the first place. So most of the time you lose an online game. Could you imagine you lose the game before it even starts because the ad takes too long?
Yeah, his ad loaded better than yours, so he scored 3 points already.
Yeah, he's already scored more points.
I don't know. I don't think it works like that.
But it's just it's
not an online. It's not that. It's on your career.
That's even worse.
Well, I'm sure it's in
but how much? But how? Okay, so then how much is too long of an ad?
I don't think there should be an ad in a video game.
That's what I think it's true. I think it's setting a precedent for putting ad like.
I don't care if it's a loading screen. Like, I don't think it's okay. You paid $60 to play a video game. It's a video game. If I wanted ads, I'll go watch TV. I'll watch YouTube. This is a video game that I paid for. YouTube is free.
And
unless
you full well knew, but
yeah.
and that's
you don't get ads.
And you full well paid $60 for a game that you know every time you load into a game, or you in your My Career, or just playing on the couch with your friend, you're gonna get a 2K TV ad, and you're gonna have to talk to Shaq.
Yeah, but that's the game. That's the game loading. That's one thing. The game is loading, and they're letting the game load by doing that. And that might be something that gets eliminated over time. Also, Shaq and Kenny and all those guys talking doesn't bother me because it brings a little bit more of an experience to the game. I want to say a little bit more realistic.
Yeah.
But an ad into the game, the ad adds nothing to make me feel more realistic. The worst part of watching a sports event on TV is watching a commercial. The only time it works is the Super Bowl, and let's be real, the Super Bowl commercials have been pretty garbage the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So, no one likes commercials. Why would you put a commercial in a game that I just spent, now in this case, $3 for? But could you imagine if you were one of those guys that bought the Ultimate Edition, $120, version of the game.
Now you get ad, and you're like a diehard fan,
and
you have to watch an ad.
Fan, and now you have to watch an ad before every single
If it was
game?
skippable, I don't think it. Like, how many people have a problem with YouTube and skipping YouTube ads or being YouTube ads?
That's whatever. I mean, I can deal with that.
And like the YouTube videos that you're watching are supporting a channel or individual or whatever that
this is literally just you like. Trying to play a game. I'm just trying to have a little bit of chill time and fun. Yeah. And I have to watch Snowfall. Because that's what they're advertising. They're advertising Snowfall. I don't know what Snowfall is, but that's what they're advertising.
Yeah, I see the.
Yeah. So, I don't think that's acceptable. I don't think we should. I mean, they're gonna do it because they can make money off of it, but it should be one of those things. It's like, what are you doing? We shouldn't be like, yeah, that's okay. Like, no, this is dumb. They shouldn't get away with this.
Any other opinions there?
I mean, it's kind of one of those things that it's 50-50, doesn't the other, because it also, when the 2K TV ads show up, it tells you what's going on in the 2K world.
Yeah, but this is an ad for something that's not involved in 2K. That's the point. This is not 2K.
Business-wise, I get it. I absolutely get it. Ad revenue is a huge deal. You talk about these guys on Twitch, YouTube, whatever it is. Ad revenue is huge. That's where you make your money. So I get it. I get it why they would implement it. Now, they're kind of dumb because you're just going to piss off everyone. Now, if it was a free, like Hulu, you watch ads for Hulu unless you pay for, the monthly membership. Unless you get.
I don't want to watch ads when I watch a TV show.
Yeah, because you want to get rid of it, or YouTube gives you the option to pay for the YouTube Red or YouTube Premium.
I guess what it really comes down to is if ads bother you. I mean, when I'm watching TV, I expect it. It's whatever. when I'm watching a movie, could you imagine if there was an ad in a movie? Oh, I would throw something at the screen. I would lose my cool. That is
outside
not cool.
of previews.
But like, that's what I'm saying. Could you imagine that's why to me
like
it's
going
like,
to a movie theater.
Could you imagine you come home from work, you've worked all damn day, you go to play your game, and before you can even load into the game, there's an advertisement for something that you don't care about. And you're like,
so
really?
what would you do if they had? What would you do if they gave you a game, same game that was, say, $30,
I'd
and
still
say,
be pissed.
$30 and you get ads.
You get ads.
Maybe that's something they do. Maybe that's something they do for 2K20. It's $30 for a game.
$65,
and then they
like
just run
$60.
ads.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something.
And they're not skippable. And
I mean, if
you
they
pay
wanted
$60.
if they wanted to lower the price of video games in general and make it half the price, and the price you have to pay for that is an ad, okay, maybe. But there's a lot of games that doesn't work for at all. Could you imagine you're playing Red Dead Redemption and all of a sudden you finish a mission before you finish a mission
that's a completely different. You can't use that because that's a completely different genre.
I just think that playing 2K and then you have to watch an ad every time because when like Jacob's saying like when I want to play, when I just want to sit down on my couch and I want to play basketball, you know. I want it to happen right away. Like
the loading screen is already annoying enough. I mean, I hate loading screens in games in general. There's a lot of great games.
But
out
I understand,
there that,
they're loaded.
But there's a lot of great games out there that don't
assets.
have like long loading screens. If you play the Spider-Man game, the loading screen is very short. And I mean, that's just because it's a different developer and they actually like their audience. Where 2K just takes advantage of theirs. But the thing being is no one wants to sit through a loading screen. So now I have to sit through a loading screen and I have to sit through an ad. That makes me not want to play your game. That makes me go, you're getting so much money anyway. Could you imagine if you're one of those guys that plays like Ultimate Team or something in 2K and you're already spending an enormous amount of your actual
How about the FIFA
money?
guys? Imagine if FIFA did this.
Oh, if FIFA did this? If Madden did this?
I mean, EA's probably going to do it this year anyway, right?
I mean, EA's EA. I could see them doing it, but okay. Does
FIFA,
anyone have
it
anyone they want to say?
won't happen with FIFA because there's no real spot you can put a true ad
Before a game.
Before a game, just like 2K
Before a
did.
game, just like 2K's doing.
All right, so let's move on from this subject.
So I want to say right now, real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Talking about EA, there's something very exciting that's happened.
Yeah.
Only one thing, and college football found its way back into Madden, where you could pick a college football team and play as a quarterback. You had 10 teams:
Yeah.
Clemson, Florida State, Miami, Florida,
This was the most recent Madden.
Oregon, USC, Texas, Oklahoma, or Texas Tech. It's only 10 teams. But anyone else excited at the idea that we might be getting the greatest football series back into video games?
Yes.
NCAA college football?
So a little disclaimer. Zimlin and I used an Xbox 360. We went out and found, NCAA Football 14.
I think it was the last one they made.
And we played that game like crazy.
I mean, this was within the last year. Yeah,
within the last year. We created our South Harmon Institute of Technology team.
Yes.
I'm sure that's copyrighted somewhere, but our sandwiches.
Sandwiches.
We created our sandwiches. We made a nice little logo. And loaded into the game, created our custom roster before they shut down the servers for custom rosters. Yes.
It was the most fun I've had.
And it was awesome. It reminds you how bad Madden is because those games are so great. And I'll talk about like the Immaculate Vision or
Gridiron.
The Gridiron Champions is the game.
Champions, yeah.
Gridiron Champions is the game. These guys who have been trying to start college football as a video game up for the last few years. And disclosure there, I'm technically an insider. I pre-ordered the game. I get some perks with that, like my name's going to be in the game, so watch out for that when it releases in 2020. So I'm excited for college football to be back. I always love those games. I know the Gridiron Champions is going to be different than what you're used to.
They can't use license.
Yeah, they've been working hard to get the licenses, but yeah, at this point I don't even care. I don't need the licenses.
You just want college football.
You just want the college football game.
You want the dynasty.
You want the dynasty mode. You want the recruiting.
The Heisman experience.
The Heisman, the stuff that made those games incredible, and what would make you buy them every year? Those are the only games that I bought every year.
Yeah.
I didn't buy every FIFA. I didn't buy.
No.
I didn't buy every Madden.
So I mean, it's exciting.
The college football games are the ones that I bought every year.
You bought that one, like you pre-ordered that one, and then this year's Madden, they finally said, you know what? We got 10 teams.
Yeah.
We can pick from, and you can play as quarterback on any of these 10 teams. I'm starting to think EA is trying to go, well, you know what? If they're going to come back, maybe we can. Because let me be real. I know you're a backer. You're excited. But if EA comes out and says, yeah, we're going to have a new college football game next season, it's over. I'm sorry.
Yeah, then I got to pay another $50 for the other 120 teams, right?
So the problem is with that, with the college game, is that they have to get around NCAA.
So the thing that got them in trouble the first time around was using player likeness.
Yes. And in accordance with federal rules, if you use player likeness, you have to pay those athletes.
Which is where they got in trouble. So what they're doing, like the Gridiron Champions guys, is they're not using. It's all randomly generated. You could always just randomly generate the players and make the games. Then you just had to work with licenses with the schools themselves, and NCAA.
But even that, you're still paying school. Money
they still get royalties,
which is voiding contracts, which would void your NCAA scholarship.
I don't think so.
Well, because that one guy,
you're not using player likeness to benefit. You're just using your institution.
Yeah, you would have to pay the university itself.
You're paying the university itself.
That's under the Ed O'Bannon case. So the Ed O'Bannon case was pretty cool, interesting, because what got the EA in trouble was they used legacy teams, and Ed O'Bannon was a part of the UCLA dynasties with he was a pretty famous player, I think, in and of himself. But where they got in trouble is he never gave approval, and they didn't have anything like that back in the day, and especially with those legacies, that man's already made his money and continues to make money. And they went ahead and they were like, oh, under NCAA rules, no, that wasn't a thing. So there's nothing. And the courts ruled against the NCAA. So if you were to use current NCAA players, so for example, we've got Mackenzie Milton, we've got Daryl Mack at UCF. If I were to play NCAA and I went and used the UCF Knights, not only would I be paying the school, but I'd also have to pay the players to use their likeness, their names, all that in that as well. So yes, you would have to pay the university.
Yeah, and even if
because you're using their logos.
Exactly. And that
but it's not about paying the university; it's about paying the players.
But that's a completely random thing.
Correct.
You don't have to pay me to put me in the game.
Paying the university and the players to obviously completely separate different things, because paying the university a lump sum of money is going to be a heck of a lot cheaper than paying the university and the players itself. I think where they're smart is they're just randomly generating names and all that to avoid that. And you can't say, or a player cannot say, oh, this is me. And they would, I'm wondering where the player stats would come into that. If I think players would have an argument if they had a player on a certain number that had certain stats. I think
and that were something similar.
Yeah, athletes could have a argument if they were to do that, but I think they would be smart enough to stay away.
Yeah, it's just going to be completely generated.
But that's what it's with the college teams, though. It's so hard to do, because even you have problems with ESPN, getting deals to just pay to have their football games on TV. It's same kind of concept. I don't know if a development like EA is going to have enough budget to, hey, we'll pay everybody X amount of money to put you in the video game for 1 year.
They're going to try to avoid players. The whole conversation is not. They're going to avoid likeness altogether. People at this point, people just want college football
I just want to
games
play
back.
as the Gators,
That's what people
man.
want.
That's all I want. Or I want to play as a really bad Florida team. Like I'll make Florida A&M amazing just because I can. Like
You want that back.
Like that.
You
like,
want to make UCF the real national champions.
No.
Excuse me?
Listen, no, hold on. We're gonna have an argument real quick because after living in Orlando now for a while, and being a Gator fan, I made the mistake of wearing a Gator jacket downtown Orlando right after you guys lost your bowl game, and I've never heard so many shit-talking fans from a team that's never won an actual national championship before in my life.
Oof. They did get one official vote.
Have you heard
so
of the Kawhi Matrix? Have you heard of the Kawhi Matrix?
National champions, so
look at the NCAA.
They're official champions.
Yeah. According to the Kawhi Matrix. Oh, also, let's get this out of the way. Yes, they're in the NCAA record book. Alabama has an entire made-up national championship. I think it was like 1945,
They have
46.
more than one. They have one where they went like, what, 9 and something one season, and they claimed the national championship when like other teams went undefeated.
It was the University of Minnesota won the national championship, and Alabama was like, "Oh
no, it's ours.
Nope, we won it." And it's like everybody does it, and it's more. And if you're actually thinking, like, yes, in the NCAA rule book, UCF did win a national championship, but it's not a national we physically did not play for the national championship.
Yeah.
We just under the old rules. It is more about the notoriety of the university. It is more about getting the name out there of the University of Central Florida. Like, look at all the publicity. People are still to this day talking about that. That is good for UCF, whether it is good publicity, bad publicity, it doesn't matter. It is publicity. And Danny White is a brilliant athletic director because everybody's getting questions on UCF for a whole entire year. Every athletic director was getting questions on it. And everybody was talking about the team.
I'm just going to make one little comment when it comes to UCF in Florida. We offered you guys a 3-year deal to play us.
No, you didn't.
Oh my God!
All right. That's not what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about.
Hold on.
That's not what we're talking about. No.
Since Jake
No.
And since I don't care, let me say, your deal that you gave UCF was complete garbage.
No, that's what you give every team that's in a lower division. Moving on.
Oh,
so what to look out for this week? Ben, Kevin, stop talking.
Kevin, they're not the lower division anymore.
Oh, did you just say? Well, I don't even know what division UCF is in. Jacob, enlighten me.
The American Athletic Conference.
The AAC. You think the AAC is better than the SEC? Ben, you are kicked from the podcast. I am muting you. Hold on.
It's better than half.
Better than half? Ben, they have one good team.
All right.
They have one good team.
All right, the fat man has been muted. We're moving on to our next segment. What to look out for this upcoming week. I'll go real quickly. We'll wrap up the podcast. The College World Series is Monday, Tuesday this week. Wednesday, if necessary, it's Michigan versus Vanderbilt. I'm not a fan of either team, but it's always something to look out for. It's in Omaha. Good baseball to watch. See some kids who are drafted and stuff like that. And then I know Zimlin and Fritz, you guys have the same thing.
Panama versus USA. I almost said UCF. I'm still shell-shocked over him saying that conference is better than the SEC. Panama and USA is going to be a very interesting game. I mean, the USA's already clinched, and I mean, they destroyed Trinidad yesterday. It was that was a fun game to watch. It was so much fun to watch. But I just want to see how they carry it over, and I want to see them. Hey, is the men's team finally going to be as good as the women's team? Can they compete? Because obviously the women's team is
pretty good.
I don't want to knock on wood, but the women's team should destroy everyone they play. But the men's team needs to pick it up, and I mean, what we saw yesterday, it's like, oof.
I'm a real big fan of obviously the next American hero that is Christian Pulisic, but I mean Tyler Boyd and Paul Arriola that were playing the outside runners. Really the Guyana game and also the Trinidad and Tobago game, they were very impressive. They were very active. I'm sure that's a part of Greg Berhalter's alignment and strategy with the formation of the team. Giassi Zardes needed to step up, and he did.
Oh, he was
scoring 2 goals
last night. Yeah, he was that hat trick, man.
So, yeah, and also, I mean, I think everybody's question still is going to be the back line. But I think that's deservedly so because they really haven't been tested. Because of, I mean, Trinidad had a few chances. Guyana had like 1, but that's like if you're going up against a better team.
What happens
like
when we eventually reach Brazil? I mean,
yeah. And I'm not saying that we're gonna shut down. Like I want to see them shut down Brazil, or like a goal is gonna be let up every now and then. And we'll be realistic. But I want to see them step up in a game where maybe the offense doesn't have it. Maybe they can only score 1 or 2 goals, but the defense is really shutting down the opposition. Maybe they're keeping possession, but they're not getting shots on net. And Stefan played a pretty good game yesterday too.
All right. Now we're gonna move over to Ben. Ben, I'm gonna unmute you. Do you have some things you want to talk about? Go ahead.
You have the Women's World Cup going on, which is somewhat fantastic. Yeah, I mean,
only somewhat.
Only somewhat.
Well, no, well, you know, it happens every 4 years where everybody cares about 2 things in United States sports, and it's either World Cup or, in this case, the men's soccer team going with the CONCACAF. My other thing to watch out for is next Sunday is another F1 race. And it's going to be interesting to see if Mercedes can keep winning 1-2 this year, because they've won first and second out of every race this year. And they won today, first place won by 32 and a half seconds.
I'm not gonna lie, that's 32 and a half seconds. I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of ridiculous. That's overpowering. Like, that's not even close. Oh my god.
And his guy who was in first place, his teammate was in second place, behind him by 31 and a half. Then the guy that was in third was behind second place by 15 seconds.
It's not even close.
Is Lewis Hamilton still in with Mercedes, correct?
Yeah, and he won today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're 1 and 2 every race this year. They are 200. I think I saw after the race today. They are 250 points up in the manufacturer, which is like Mercedes, Ferrari, Honda.
Right.
They're 250 points up from second place.
Nice.
All right.
I don't know if even if they lose every race from here on out, I don't know if anybody's going to be able to catch that.
All right, so that was your what to look for this next week. We got the College World Series, men's and women's national teams, and some interesting things in F1 that the rest of us weren't really aware of. So
and look at that, nobody talked about Major League Baseball.
We talked about baseball. We talked about the race.
No. What to look forward
but upcoming?
To
yeah, nobody cares.
Because it's just the All-Star game. We still got time till the All-Star game.
No,
That's
nobody
why I didn't want to talk about it. I did talk about college baseball, but we're gonna wrap up the show with that. Thank you all those.
Episode.
Yeah, the inaugural episode. Yeah, I guess that's the premiere, the pilot, if you will.
This is the pilot.
Episode of Completely Biased Sports Podcast, episode 1, debuting June 23rd, 2019. Thank you all so much for listening. Have a great day.
Goodbye.